Accused of either helping the 10 inmates break out or helping them on the run. In Philadelphia, police still searching for the gunman who shot up a crowd of people last night, killing 2, injuring 9. On Wall Street, a big stock market surge is brewing with rising futures. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A deadly Memorial Day shooting. Cloudy, currently 59 in the Circle City. A high could reach 70 today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. A person is dead following a shooting at an apartment complex Monday night in Indianapolis. A man was found at the scene of the shooting just northwest of the intersection of East 46th Street and Allisonville Road. He later died at a hospital. A person of interest has been detained, and police are investigating the shooting as a homicide. A person is in bad shape after being shot in downtown Indy Monday. Jake McDaniel reports.
Officers arrived at the Majestic building on South Pennsylvania Street to look into this.
I thought I heard a car backfire or something like that.
But it was no car. A Swedish tourist who was near Coach's Tavern in Prime 47, which was close to the scene of the shooting, says he heard what happened.
I don't feel unsafe because that happened. You can see there's a lot of policemen here and everything seems to be under control.
He says he is not surprised that it happened in Indy. Jake McDaniel, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Elsewhere on Memorial Day, IMPD says a body was found in the White River. Authorities arrived in the area of North White River Parkway and West Michigan Street before noon yesterday. A dive team with Indy firefighters helped the man out of the water. The cause of death now being looked into. Gas prices sitting at $3.19 a gallon. The statewide average today, according to Gas Buddy. In Indianapolis, the average $3.22. Alex Palou continuing to celebrate his victory in the 109th Indianapolis 500.
You never know if you're going to be able to win the 500 or not. It's so special to be part of it as a driver. I have to say thank you to Chip. Everybody knows what happened in the past. I'm just going to keep on giving you as many wins as I can as a thank you and as a sorry, just to make up for our past.
Palou at last night's victory banquet, referring to the drama of 2 years ago when he nearly left Chip Ganassi Racing. The winning check for Palou and CGR, $3.8 million. Aaron Neesmith, a game-time decision tonight for the Pacers. He has a sore ankle. Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals from Gainbridge Fieldhouse tips off at 8 o'clock. Head coach Rick Carlisle and what they need to do against the Knicks.
Aggression level's got to be better. Tempo's got to be better. Defense has got to be better. Rebounding's got to be better. This series is, each game's going to be different.
Indiana's hoping to take a 3-1 series lead back to New York for Game 5. Traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Bear.
What's happening, Jared? Emerson Avenue closed on the south side from County Line Road to Todd Road because of a crash. Right now, I see a picture, and an Indigo bus is straddling the median. Both directions of Emerson closed right around Todd Road. Crash Kessler Boulevard north at I-65 38th. Inbound 69, northeast side 4-minute delay 106 to 82nd. And northbound 65 on the south side slows from Raymond Street into the south split because of construction. Traffic sponsored by ExpressPros.com. If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is already hiring for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Visit ExpressPros.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Do you have an idea for a book, fiction, nonfiction, or a children's book? We can help you put it together and bring it to market at Dorrance Publishing. We have thousands of testimonials from people just like you that we've helped get their books sold in stores and online. We've even got a service called The Writer's Coach. It's perfect for people that have a book idea in their head and they just need someone to help them put it on paper. Dorrance Book Publishing has been helping people just like you who have a book idea, written or not, for over 100 years. Imagine being counted among the most famous authors in the world with your very own book. Call right now and let us help you turn a book idea into reality. It's easier than you think. You just need a little help. Call us now.
800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. 800-879-4098. That's 800-879-4098.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies, cooler temperatures, and a few scattered showers and storms this afternoon. A high of 67, cloudy, a few showers possible overnight, a low of 57. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level on the go and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Yeah, the lying is very concerning at this point. I think the lying is more concerning than the actual horrible governance. The lying about the horrible governance is more concerning than the horrible governance itself. It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle joins us today. Ethan, we were talking about this before we went on the air, that you're with me. I had said last week, and Casey and I had a big conversation about this. You're with me. There basically is no point in voting at this point. You can't trust any of these people. It doesn't matter what they tell you. They'll say anything, and then they do the same stuff over. And it doesn't matter. You change them out. You put new people in. It doesn't matter. It always ends up exactly the same.
I think you can participate in the primaries. You can vote for the candidates that you believe will make the biggest difference. I think endorsements make little impact, and certainly you shouldn't tie your name to these people because they will swiftly stab you in the back. But yeah, I'm very black-pilled about the current state of political affairs because there is no will to reform the government. There is never any will to do the cutting. They say the right things, they make the right promises, and then as soon as you elect them, they completely turn their back on their principles. So the only thing that's left for us as individual citizens, we can cheer them when they do well, we can jeer them when they do poorly, but beyond that, there's not much left.
Okay, so Johnson, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he was on, was it CNN? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and he was trying to sell the big bullcrap bill. And he does it in a manner, and this is what's fascinating to me. They will make the lie to fit whatever position that they want. And by the way, if the Democrats had done this, they would be up in arms that this is how they would be selling the thing. And no business would operate this way, in which what I'm saying is they're ignoring the actual numbers. If you listen to him here, the Speaker of the House, he's ignoring the actual numbers. So the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, is in charge of scoring whatever the bill is. They give you some sort of estimated fiscal impact. And naturally, it is an estimate because they don't have any firm idea. But they can say, based on the information you have provided us, we're going to put those into a system and it will spit out what we estimate the numbers are. And right now, the estimated debt in the big bullcrap bill is somewhere between probably $2.5 and $3 trillion annually added to the deficit.
Jeez.
But so Johnson now goes on CNN and just basically says, well, I'm going to give you these imaginary numbers that we can't prove and we don't know because we think, well, if we do these tax cuts for everyone, legalized vote buying for everyone, including this no tax on tips, which is heinous. It is heinous. The idea that they're saying if you're a bartender or you're a stylist, that your work matters more than a teacher or a police officer or whatever. And it is nothing against those people. God bless them. Thank you for being out there doing that. But nobody's work is more important than other people's work. If you work, you pay into the system. It all should matter the same. It's totally legalized vote buying. So listen to this. He's on CNN, and he's like, well, that's not exactly accurate because, well, we think there'll be so much money in the economy that it's going to come back into the Treasury, and it won't actually be that big of a deficit. Now, keep in mind, we already had the Trump tax cuts before, and they were still running pre-COVID trillion-dollar annual deficits. Like, this is the thing the Republicans want to whitewash out of the equation, which is we've already been through Trump government pre-COVID. There's more spending now than there was before COVID, and you were running trillion-dollar annual. Listen to this guy.
This is the largest cut in spending in at least 30 years and arguably of all time. We're cutting over $1.5 trillion in federal spending while we check all the boxes and bring about a pro-growth economy.
Pause that real quick. So they added, the Republicans added, right? It's not the Democrats did some of this, but the Republicans in 2020 added $5 trillion of spending. They created all these entitlement programs during COVID. They add all this spending, then they peel some of it back, and now they're like, well, look at us. Look at the cut we're making for you.
this is exactly what Biden tried to do with the economy when the economy was absolutely eviscerated by COVID, and then it somewhat started to come back to life and return to normal. And he said, look at all these jobs that the government has created because we have allowed the economy to open back up after shutting it down.
All right, go ahead,
It's the same kind of dishonesty.
Go ahead.
Been panned because, as you said, they don't do dynamic scoring. What that means is they don't account for the growth that will be fostered by all the policies that are in this this big piece of legislation. This is not theoretical, Jake. Just remember the last Trump administration. After the first 2 years.
I remember the last Trump administration, and the Trump administration was running $1 trillion annual deficits pre-COVID. People, they act like this did not happen. You're spending more. There's more entitlements now voted on by and approved by the Republicans. So you peel some of that back and you go look at the spending cut that we made when you instituted the spending increases to begin with. And he's saying this with a straight face. There's no way you'll be able to grow yourself into a $3 trillion annual spending deficit. You absolutely cannot do it.
No, the unemployment rates are already low, and they refuse to address the actual problem, which is the spending.
Yeah, okay, so let's go to Rand Paul, because he was on Fox News, and he said exactly that in regards to this bill.
I support spending cuts. I think the cuts currently in the bill are wimpy and anemic, but I still would support the bill, even with wimpy and anemic cuts, if they weren't going to explode the debt. The problem is the math doesn't add up. They're going to explode the debt by, the House says $4 trillion. The Senate's actually been talking about exploding the debt $5 trillion. This year in September, when our fiscal year ends, the deficit will be about $2.2 trillion. Now, people used to always say, the Republicans would say, what's Bidenomics? That's Biden spending levels. When March, every Republican, virtually every Republican other than me, voted to continue the Biden spending levels, which are going to give us a $2.2 trillion deficit. Now, if you increase the debt ceiling $4 to $5 trillion, that means they're planning on $2 trillion this year and more than $2 trillion next year. That's just not conservative. So I've told them if they strip out the debt ceiling, I'll consider, even with the imperfections, voting for the rest of the bill. But I can't vote to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. There's got to be someone left in Washington who thinks debt is wrong and deficits are wrong and wants to go in the other direction. The idea that we're going to explode deficits, and the projections are now looking at over $3 trillion in deficits over the next 10 years, I think is just, not a serious proposal.
Yeah, he's exactly right. We're not serious people. And for some reason, when Trump does it, it's okay. And this is where somebody's got to explain this to me, is why when Biden does it, it's bad, or when Obama did it, it's bad. But when Trump does it, get in line, peasant. I don't understand this. Either it's the deficits are fine, either the national debt at $37 trillion going to $57 trillion is fine. You can't complain when one group does it and then go, well, when our guy does it, we like that.
Well, it's because politics has turned into a team sport, and they rationalize it away by saying Trump is playing 5D chess and he wrote The Art of the Deal. He's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. But my question to you, Rob, and this is something that's bothered me since the Obama administration. It's only gotten worse since then, and I'm speaking in rough terms here, but since, let's say, 2005, and that's not exact, but it's kind of rough, we had $10 trillion of national debt. We now have almost $30 trillion of national debt in 2025. So that's $20 trillion in 20 years. That's unsustainable. At what point, and you might not have an answer for this question, but at what point does this fiscal house of cards collapse? It cannot continue, but it's only gotten worse since the Obama administration. And it seems that we are on the precipice of some severe financial and gubernatorial consequences in our government because of the spending, but they just continue full steam ahead.
All right.
When does it collapse?
I think I will answer that when we come back. I do want to point out, because we always get this in the YouTube chat, but you voted for Trump. Yeah. Trump's done a fine job on the border. If you tell me I can have one person spend and we're going to have 15 million people illegally enter the country, or one person spend and we will have a reasonably secure border, if you can tell me I will have 15, somebody add 15 trillion to the national debt, or both people are going to add 15 trillion to the national debt, and one person gives me a secure border and a more robust, common sense foreign policy that works and stabilizes the world, of course you're going to take that person. I don't understand why, because you vote for someone, you give up your right to be critical of them. If you have two horrible choices, by the way, Ethan, you're with me. Who did we want in the primary?
DeSantis.
That's
the choice was right there.
Thank you, right? Okay, very good. Thank you. You are allowed to be critical of people if you have to pick if you are given two options you do not like and one is slightly better than the other one. You don't give up your right to be critical of the person. And shouldn't we all be critical and continue to fight for better public policy? Does anyone think adding $20 trillion to the nation's debt when you're at $37 trillion is better public policy? All right, we'll take a break. I got to play you this Ron Johnson audio, and then we'll get into when does it crumble? Because I think you're getting there. I think it's a very fair observation. All right, it's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
Russia takes a little more of Ukraine. 4 border villages.
367 drones and missiles.
Hear the news.
The Indy 500, $20 million purse.
It's overwhelming. It's amazing.
As events happen.
A shooting just a block north of Cambridge Fieldhouse. Man was shot. He's in bad shape.
We'll happen to be there.
Kayaker found a man's body floating in the Fall Creek in the water for quite some time.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. Prepare for the summer heat with energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. Window Nation windows are built to keep your house cool during the hot summer days, and Window Nation has some of the best energy-efficient windows on the market. Their windows frequently outperform and outlast some of the more expensive guys. Window Nation windows are assembled right here in America. Check out this deal. Right now, when you buy 4 windows, you'll get 4 for free. For 2 years, you won't have to worry about a down payment, interest, or monthly payments. That's right, you don't pay anything until 2027. And if that's not enough, get a free entry door when you buy a house of windows. But you have to mention Hammer and Nigel sent you. You don't get the deal without saying Hammer and Nigel sent you. 866-90-NATION. Schedule a fast, free estimate right now with Window Nation or visit windownation.com.
Adventure is calling. Life Church invites kids ages 4 years old through 5th grade to True North, a fun-filled vacation Bible school where they'll discover how to follow Jesus, our ultimate guide. Join us June 9th through the 13th for games, music, crafts, and Bible stories that point kids to God's truth. It's completely free. Register now at lifechurchin.com. Life Church, leading kids to Jesus, the true north.
Health gives you the ability to love more, feel more, be more. Health gives you the ability to live an extraordinary life. Because every day, no matter the challenges, is a chance to breathe, laugh until your belly aches, cry because you care so much, and experience everything that makes your life truly extraordinary. For 150 years, Franciscan Health has been there, watching extraordinary lives unfold. Love your extraordinary life.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Now through Monday, it's our tariff-free Made in the USA sale. Save 50% on Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, and Flex Steel. Save up to $800 on mattresses, and we guarantee you the lowest price on Berlin Gardens and Hollywood Outdoor Furniture. Up to 4 years interest-free financing, extra discounts for cash, and free delivery. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Hey, race fans. This is Tim Wicker, president of Electric Plus. When it comes to commercial electrical work, new construction, facility upgrades, or routine maintenance, our team brings the horsepower to get it done right. We deliver top quality results with the skill and speed you'd expect from a winning crew. And now, as an employee-owned ESOP company, every team member is fully invested in crossing the finish line with you. Visit our website at electricplus.com to see how we can take care of your electrical needs.
At Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling, our mission is to provide honest assessments and recommendations. We promise you'll never be sold something you don't need.
PricePointComfort.com. They are your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air dealer.
Okay, so that's a good question, Ethan. Like, when does it all tumble over on everybody? I think that's fair. It's Kendall and Casey show. Casey's out today. I'm Rob. That's Ethan. Kev is here. So we were talking last segment about this big bullcrap bill that they're lying about it. They're deceiving you. I mean, it's going to add trillions to the debt. It doesn't do any meaningful reforms. Think about this, Ethan. This is where we're at in our country. We have gone so far. We are so addicted to big government that the idea of saying, if you can walk and talk and lift things, you should have to go to work in order to get some form of government assistance. Like, that's controversial now. That's going to be a hang-up. If you read about the Senate side, these Republicans in the Senate, whether it's Holly or the usual Murkowski, they're like, ooh, I don't know. There's these Medicaid changes, and ooh, I don't know about that. We're just talking about people going to work that can go to work.
What happened to society? Aren't we just 30 years out from welfare reform in the Clinton administration, like 95? People realized, the politicians realized that the society's largely so apathetic, and you can basically fearmonger people, as we saw. I mean, the two biggest growths of government in the modern era were what? 9/11, in the aftermath of 9/11, and COVID. And what you saw was, what do those have in common? We used fear. Oh, you're going to end up in a mushroom cloud if we don't do the Department of Homeland Security. Or COVID. Your grandma's going to die, or you're going to die, or the streets will be overrun with body bags. If we don't do all these. Of course, none of them actually helped COVID. It was just growth of government. And so what has happened is, once you quote unquote give something to someone, then if you try to take it away, they believe they're, quote-unquote, entitled to it. And that is what we have seen, is we have made people apathetic to the point where they believe these things can just keep happening, when simple math tells us that you can't keep paying for everybody to do everything. You have to pick. You have to prioritize. It's no different than Social Security or Medicare, where when you have more and more people living longer and entering this system and fewer people paying for it, you're going to run out of money. You're going to run out of the thing. And we will not have this conversation because we have done so much legalized vote buying in this country that now people believe it's something they're entitled to. This conversation has reminded me of a very famous quote from the intellectual Alexis de Tocqueville.
Oh, yes.
And this shows you, the brilliance of the founding fathers and the thinkers of their era, when Alexis de Tocqueville once said that the American Republic will endure until the day Congress discovers that it can bribe the public with the public's money. And that's what we're talking about.
So real quick, I want to play Ron Johnson, who was a great stereo salesman in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and also now a U.S. Senator from Wisconsin. And he's also one of the big no's on this bill right now. And he said basically he don't care whether Trump's happy or not. He's doing what's right for the people and for the country.
Well, in 2010, I sprang out of the Tea Party movement, and as I did parades, I would shout, "This is a fight for freedom. We are mortgaging our children's future. It's wrong. It's immoral. It has to stop." I haven't changed. My campaign promise in 2010 and every campaign after that was to stop mortgaging our children's future. It's immoral. It's wrong. It has to stop. And so he may not be worried about that. I am extremely worried about that. That is my primary goal running for Congress. This is our moment. We've witnessed an unprecedented level of increased spending, 58% since 2019, other than World War II. This is our only chance to reset that to a reasonable pre-pandemic level of spending. And again, I think you can do it, and the spending that we would eliminate, people wouldn't even notice. But you have to do the work, which takes time.
I mean, to look at some person and go, get off your ass and go to work, if you're capable of getting off your ass and going to work, that's not some unreasonable death sentence you're bestowing upon someone. You can walk. You can lift things. You can stand and greet people at the Walmart. You can do something to contribute to society if you're getting some sort of government benefit, unless you are a disabled person. And in some cases, many disabled people can also go to work. This is it's insanity.
If we keep spending at our current pace, and mind you, it's likely to eclipse $50 trillion of debt before we get to 2050. By year 2045, if we keep current pace of about $1 trillion per year, we will be $50 trillion in national debt, something that I can't fathom. I'm not sure how it would ever be, how you could pay your way out of such a thing.
Well, you can't. And so to answer the question you asked, which is when does it end, there's not going to be some moment where the U.S. just ceases to exist or stuff keeps happening. But when your debt becomes such a dominant part of what you're paying back, eventually people say you're done, right? People start cutting you off. You start being unable to do other things. You're seeing it play out in real time with the devaluation of the dollar, with everything getting more expensive. And it will just get progressively worse. It's going to, day after day, week after week, year after year, you're going to just see the slow slide of this country into, as you said, an unrepairable position. Now,
so you don't think that we're going to experience like a stock market crash of 1929 scenario where CEOs are jumping out of skyscrapers and you see the rich selling their luxury automobiles on the side of the road for $100 and a bite of bread? Nothing like that?
No, I mean, it's just all made up money anyway at this point, right? I mean, 57 trillion. You can't even fathom the number. It's so big. And what it does is it just keeps eating up the amount of money you have available. You're using that to pay people back. By the way, you will be the one who gets screwed on this. It won't be China. People are like, what if we default on our debt? You'd be defaulting on you. But the people of this country own the majority of American debt. One thing we do need to touch on real quick before we get to the news is the biggest problem we have now is, other than Johnson, Rand Paul, kind of maybe Mike Lee, kind of maybe Ted Cruz, depending on what the topic is, Massey, of these hundreds and hundreds of people in the government, there is no individualism left. They're all completely beholden to the party. They're actually completely beholden to Trump. They're petrified. These Freedom Caucus people are like, this bill sucks, but I'm going to vote for it anyway. Why? Why would you do that? Because they're so beholden to the party. And we play this interview every so often. I'm just going to play a little clip of it, and then we'll go to the news. Jesse Ventura, this was about 10 years ago when he was thinking about running for president. They asked him, it's a great interview, a guy named Graham Benzinger did the interview. It's one of the best political interviews I've ever heard. It's fascinating. It's well over an hour. And he asked him about the control that the parties have, the special interest has over these politicians. And this is what he said.
How much do you fault the candidates for that, and how much do you fault just the system today?
I fault the Democrats and Republicans and the system they've created. You notice I don't even discuss the candidates. Didn't do that when I went for governor either. I run against the parties because the candidates are nothing but puppets to the party. The party's got the strings. Mm-hmm. They're the puppets. That's what you got. There's no strings over Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, I mean, you think Rudy Yakum or Jim Baird or any of these people has any independence? No, they just do whatever they're told. They're posting the same stuff on Twitter, identical verbiage, all these people. It's the same talking points. There is no independence. These people do whatever they're told. Whatever they're told. Somebody who also does exactly what he's told, and that usually entails a fabulous newscast, is Jarrett Lewis, and that's coming up next. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Investigating the Biden administration. Cloudy sky, currently 60 in Indianapolis. The high today could reach 70. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:31. The FBI is announcing they plan to reopen several investigations from the Biden administration.
FBI Deputy Director made this announcement on X. There are 3 cases that he says the agency is looking into. The D.C. pipe bombing investigation, the cocaine discovery at the Biden administration's White House, and the leak of the Supreme Court Dobbs case. The FBI has yet to identify the suspect who left 2 pipe bombs near the headquarters of the Republican and Democratic National Committees on January 5, 2021, the night before the riots at the U.S. Capitol. There is a $500,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest and conviction.
Fox's Madeline Rivera reporting protests broke out in the wake of the Supreme Court opinion leak. 3 more inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail earlier this month were captured Monday. Another person was also arrested and accused of being an accomplice, bringing the total number of people accused of helping the fugitives to 13. The Orleans Parish Sheriff also blamed detective locks for the escape. And Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy's visit to the Midwest will have to wait. A representative with U.S. Senator Todd Young says that expected weather in the area of Henderson, Kentucky has postponed the trip. Secretary Duffy was planning to check out the I-69 bridge project with Senator Young, Governor Braun, and other state and local officials also in attendance. The group is hoping to reschedule that visit. Time for your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow rallying 400 points, now up 500 points, 41,600. The S&P 500 is also up 80 points, 5,802. As for the NASDAQ, it is up 330 points, 20,915. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
When you golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy world-class dining and distilleries, shops, spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Being a senior makes playing high school sports even more special. I'm Claire Hack from Jennings County High School. Over the last 4 years, I think about all the memories made, how teammates became best friends, how coaches mentored me and helped me grow.
I'm Allie Ward from Boonville High School. Being a senior is bittersweet. It's fun being a leader for younger teammates, but it'll also be sad the last time I wear my jersey, take my last bus ride, huddle up at our last matchup.
I'm Grayson Mealy from Westell High School. I'll miss the adrenaline rush, fans cheering, the community support. Everything we've learned about the game and life, our memories will never forget.
I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Thank you to our seniors for being champions of high school sports and representing your communities proudly these past 4 years. Fans, support your seniors by buying a ticket to their final game. This is our final send-off. This is one final memory. This is your IHSAA.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal.
Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
All right, let's talk about driving in this city for a second, shall we? It's Kendall and Casey Show. Rob, Casey's out today. Ethan is in. Okay, so I'm pondering this. This would have been Sunday night. That was race day, right? So myself, my good friend, most beautiful man in all of Terre Haute television, Ben Verbanek, we were downtown crushing some brews, watching the Pacers game at a prominent drinking establishment. And I left my house at 6 o'clock, just after 6. So the race, because of the delay, the race crowd is still in full effect in the central Indiana area. I live in Brownsburg, so I have to drive on the peripheral of Speedway and the way people are leaving the Motor Speedway at that moment in time. Like, I'm watching this delay, the rain and everything. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to screw up my trip to downtown. But yet, with the busiest day in the city, in central Indiana, every year, and on steroids this year because you have a full house, it took me, Ethan, only 40 minutes to get from my garage to the garage here at 40 Monument Circle.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's unbelievable. In a high traffic day, to go from a suburb to downtown of the capital city with 350,000 people along your route, at least the peripheral of your route, to still be able to make it downtown in 40 minutes. Can you imagine applying that to Chicago?
Oh, no. That's the beauty of the Indianapolis metropolitan area, because you are about a 30 to 40-minute drive from any destination around the 465 loop. No matter what starting point you are, if you're in the center of downtown to any other point around the 465 loop, about a 30 to 40-minute trip, or vice versa. It's great. It's convenient.
The only traffic I hit was there were minor delays at 10th Street and Rockville Road because they were getting the traffic out of the Speedway, and that's where they were directing them to. But other than 40 minutes, regular trip for me in the morning, and I did it again today, when I just regular downtown traffic is 30 minutes from my house to the garage here. Leaving the bar, from the time I left the bar at the end of the Pacers game, including walking back to the radio station, 45 minutes. I was able to get an NBA playoff game with tens of thousands of people in the greater downtown area in which I was at. I was able to get, including walking from the bar back to the garage and then home in 45 minutes. What a lure, what an attraction. If you're a worker, if you're somebody who's thinking about living here, if you're somebody who's thinking about starting a business here, to know the ease of traffic throughout the city and the greater downtown area.
Well, enjoy it while you can, Rob, because it's not going to stay that way for long, certainly not after they begin construction on the Blue Line this spring, which will totally massacre Washington Street, a central thoroughfare for the downtown Indianapolis that spans both sides across the city from the east to the west, and they are taking it from a 5-lane thoroughfare down to a 2-lane with a dedicated bus line and center lane for the bus stops.
You bring me to the point I was trying to make. So
Terrible.
I'm thinking of this as I'm driving home, and then I was just driving in. We have it so great. Okay, the roads suck, right? The roads themselves suck, but the actual travel and the way traffic was, once upon a time structured, makes driving downtown, other than the roads themselves, a real joy. And yet, by the red line, the purple line, and the blue line, We, the taxpayers, federal and local money combined, will spend over $500 million for something that is not an issue, which is the travel to and from the major metropolitan city, the capital city. Why wouldn't we have just spent that money and said, hey, it's really easy to drive downtown. Makes it easy to come to work down here. It's super quick to get in and out. The roads suck. Why don't we take the $500 million and put them into fixing the roads? Instead, we're going to have an issue where the roads suck, and now it'll be almost impossible to drive downtown.
And something that is on the periphery of most people's awareness is what they're doing to the one-way streets that cross Indianapolis. A prime example in my neighborhood being the mutilation of New York and Michigan streets, which are now going to be converted to two-ways as opposed to one-ways. And there are 8 additional one-way roads that are undergoing this two-way conversion across the city, which is going to impede people's ability to cross the downtown. They want the gridlock. They want to force you to ride their public transit.
This is the government.
Yes. They want to edge you into utilizing the bus lanes and the bus lanes, bike lanes, any form of mass transit that they can, and get you out of your car. They loathe the freedom, the independence that auto ownership imparts to people, including economic mobility.
Because they always this is the thing. It's the environmental people. Vision Zero is the name of the thing.
You know, Rob, I saw this in action just yesterday when I was in Carmel. I went to a lovely restaurant up in Carmel, a little coffee shop. Forget the name of it. It was Puloft or something like that. Fancy name. Hey, look,
I'm such a world traveler. I can't even remember the places I go.
I was seeing a chick,
Walsh.
not a coffee shop. Rob, I was seeing the chick, not the coffee shop. Anyway, so we're walking around downtown, and they're implementing a lot of these lefty road designs into their construction. They've got the broad bike lanes, they've got the narrow streets, they've got the mixed-use residential and commercial buildings that are very tightly packed up, onto the streets. But what makes this pleasant is the fact that you don't have homeless on every corner assaulting you, panhandling you, asking you for money. You don't have trash everywhere, law enforcement, and they have priced out through their structure the undesirable elements of the community. So it's not these roadways that make the community a nice place to live, but they are trying to import that into Indianapolis as if it will then bring a Carmel-like atmosphere, and that's not how it works.
Yeah, so it's just okay, we spent $500 million when you put all these up, and how many people are actually riding this thing? And I was like, oh, it's going to draw people from the airport to downtown. It's called Uber.
Yeah.
It's Uber. I get to the airport. I need to go downtown. Some guy will drive me. I don't know if you know how that works, Ethan. You get on your cellular telephone. There's an application. You press a few buttons. Some guy comes and picks you up. He takes you downtown. And it used to be that guy could drive downtown fairly easy. You are right, Ethan. There's no way it is not by design, given the fact that we're always told, oh, we have no money for roads. Oh, we need more money from the state. Now, I get some of this stuff would not have been granted if you didn't have a bus line. But wow, talk about taking a non-existent problem and making it a problem, and in the process not addressing the actual existing problem.
And simultaneously making traffic worse for everyone.
Well, and you were the person to have this conversation with because you live here and I'm just a guest, and then I go on my way. All right, people in the YouTube chat, two beverages in 5 hours. I think I kept pretty good control of myself. 2 beverages in 5 hours. I'm not going down on a DUI. I may go down on something, but I've said this for years now. It is not going to be a DUI, and I've thought that for many, many years. If you're going to take me down, you're going to earn it. Not getting some. He blew a .09. Oh heck no, that ain't happening. It's Kendall Casey show, 93 WIBC.
Tuesday, Hammer Nigel will be back in studio after a big weekend here in Indy. Well, at least I hope so. Let's find out together at 3 o'clock here on 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
You may not have 1,000 horsepower, but you're always racing, whether it's to work, to pick something up, or drop someone off. So go the distance, knowing Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. Shop any of Hubler's 13 locations or visit drivehubler.com and choose from over 2,000 vehicles. Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report.
'Cause Hubler's got you covered.
No matter where you're racing to, go the distance, knowing Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 13 locations.
Cover me!
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Owner Danny Reinhardt says putting his kids in charge of more of the day-to-day operations of the business was the plan all along.
It makes me really proud that I know that I can turn it over to my family and they can take care of things, and I've got all the confidence in the world in them. And that's the legacy I'm proud to leave.
A great family-owned business, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, 317-745-4526. Reinhardt's your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Busy day? No problem. The WIBC Mashup podcast catches you up with standout moments from your favorite shows. Fresh episodes every weekday. One click, all the good stuff. Get your daily fix. Search WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Ethan, we got to make some sense of what Trump did on Memorial Day. It's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. Kev's here. Casey's out. Ethan Hatcher in for Casey. So a bit of I'm having trouble figuring this out, right? Because Memorial Day, I think, is pretty cut and dry, right? Like one of those days where you feel like maybe we should just kind of leave politics at the door, at least for like the beginning of the day or the part where we celebrate I'm not saying no politics ever, but when you're president of the United States, you're held to a higher standard than just some regular guy on social media.
It's about the troops. It's about their sacrifice.
Right.
That's the day.
Right. And you're the president, okay? And it is about the people who made the ultimate sacrifice. So I'm going to play you a clip of Trump that I think is wonderful. Or is it Arlington Cemetery? And then I'll compare that to what he did on social media, and then you're going to have to help me figure out what's going on, okay? All right, go ahead, Kevin.
The sacrifice that they made was not merely for a single battle, a long-ago victory, or a fleeting triumph, decades or centuries past. Their sacrifice was for today, tomorrow, and every morning thereafter. Every child that lives in peace, every home that is filled with joy and love, every day the Republic stands is only possible because of those who did what had to be done when duty called.
Okay, so you get the idea. Like, that's wonderful, right? It's the tribute to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, measured tone, very presidential. It's exactly what you would want out of your president on Memorial Day. Right, okay. Then we go to social media, and this is the truth from Trump. And it's all in caps. I cannot shout through this whole thing. So I'm going to read it, but not with the shouting, because it's all, literally every letter is in caps. Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped, radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that an incompetent president would approve, that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and release prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob, murder, and rape again.
It's a lot.
No, wait. He's not done.
Oh.
Kev, can you fire it back up?
Oh, no.
All protected by these USA-hating judges who suffered from an ideology that is sick and very dangerous for our country. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of the monsters who want our country to go to hell. But fear not. We have made great progress over the last 4 months. And America will soon be safe and great again. Again! Happy Memorial Day, and God bless America! Okay. I don't even necessarily disagree with there, but it's all in caps and lots of exclamation points, and it's Memorial Day, and nothing like, thanks to the fallen.
I love that he's doing the boomer thing where everything that he writes is just in all caps, and he doesn't realize that's the internet equivalent of screaming, but he doesn't care anyway. That's just beautiful. Cherry on top.
We have to make some sense of that, because the speech is wonderful. The speech is Reagan-esque, right? Like, you're striking the right tone. This is the day of the fallen. This is the day where throughout the history of our country, all that we have is so much of it we owe to the people, whether it's the foundation of the country or the Civil War or the World War II. I mean, all of these things, all of these people, I just don't think that's the right time for that. Does that make me a fuddy-duddy?
No, it doesn't make you a fuddy-duddy, and I think the difference here can be quite simply explained as Trump speech was him on script and Trump Twitter is him off script. That speech that he delivered for the Memorial Day address at Arlington Cemetery was undoubtedly written by some White House speech staff writer, and he constructed a very nice, very appropriate, very respectful speech, and Trump thankfully hewed pretty close to what the script was. But then on Twitter, this is Trump at his Trumpiest with the free-flowing thoughts and no filter. And that's the way that he approached his Memorial Day address on social media.
And I just think it takes away from, you could have made the media cycle about your speech, your great. This is where I look at it from. Even if you don't, he loves attention. He loves positive attention. He craves positive attention. The media cycle could have been, wow, Trump gives this really wonderful speech at Arlington Cemetery to remember the fallen. And instead, the media cycle is Trump goes crazy on everyone and doesn't even mention the
his personality is a double-edged sword, because the same weakness is ironically also what people are attracted to from him, the unfiltered way in which he addresses his thoughts.
All right, we'll take a break. Hey, coming up next hour, we're going to have Catherine, Michael, Tammy Meyer. They are the attorneys for the alleged victims in the Brownsburg daycare abuse case that has gotten all sorts of media attention. We got Trump talking about Putin. A lot more. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
Are you planning for your retirement? Ensure you're on the right track with a crucial step, tax planning. At Absolute Wealth Management, LLC, every retirement plan we design includes comprehensive tax planning. Imagine maximizing your savings while minimizing tax burdens. Tax planning isn't just about the present. It's a cornerstone for retirement planning. The less you have to give to Uncle Sam, the more cash flow you have in retirement. So take control of your financial situation. Proper tax planning can help optimize your retirement income, leaving you with more time to enjoy the life you've worked hard for. Let us help you create a tax-efficient retirement plan. Your future self will thank you. Call Absolute Wealth Management, LLC, 317-288-0634. That's 317-288-0634. Or visit AbsoluteWealthManagementLLC.com. William Gonzalez offers investment advisory service through Gradient Advisors, LLC, 877-885-0508, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Absolute Wealth Management is not a registered investment advisor nor an affiliate of Gradient Advisors. Gradient Advisors, LLC, and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting advice. Insurance offered through William Gonzalez, independent agent.
Hammer and Nigel here for Mark Deedle, the only real estate expert that we recommend here on the Hammer and Nigel show. And it's because Mark Deedle is helping Hoosiers every day, like Luke and Emma in Franklin. They found the perfect piece of land and began building the new dream home, but they needed to sell their old place at the right price to fund the dream. So they hired the Mark Deedle team. They got multiple offers in the first week. They closed in 25 days. Selling was stress-free and profitable with Mark Deedle. And that's what Mark Deedle does. And that's why Mark Deedle has the guarantee. This is what separates Mark Deedle from everyone else, the guarantee. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price or deadline, or he will buy it. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Contact Mark Deedle today, 755-4232, or go to markdeedle.com, Mark D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, a slew of shootings on Memorial Day in Indianapolis. What a tourist heard on Monday while visiting downtown. And the Pacers are back at Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
President Trump could take more federal funding away from Harvard. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. He's sending letters to agencies within his administration,
asking them to review their federal contracts with Harvard, the value of which is about $100 million, determining which are non-critical and therefore could be canceled.
Fox's Molly Line in Cambridge, Massachusetts. There's also a hearing this morning.
Harvard's effort to preserve their ability to enroll international students here at the university. This comes after the Trump administration revoked that ability.
Now, a judge put that order to stop foreign student enrollment on hold, as Harvard also challenges an earlier Trump order that cuts off federal grant money over allegations Harvard allowed anti-Semitism to flourish on campus in pro-Palestinian protests. President Trump's also threatening to withhold federal funding from California over transgender sports controversy, posting on Truth Social this morning that he plans to talk to Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom today as the president calls on local authorities in the state to prevent a transitioned athlete he wrote was less than average as a male from competing in state finals next weekend in women's sports. The Supreme Court has just refused to take up a free speech case, a dispute over a Massachusetts school that banned a student from wearing a T-shirt with the message, "There are only two genders." Russia has taken over 4 border villages in Ukraine following a weekend bombardment of deadly drone and missile attacks that led President Trump to call Russia's leader crazy as he considers possible new U.S. sanctions.
This morning, the Russian government is trying to move past President Trump's criticism of Vladimir Putin. Instead, it's blaming European leaders for peace talks stalling out. Either way, Republicans in this town say now's the perfect time for the White House to get even tougher on Russia. A Russian spokesperson says that President Trump is having an emotional reaction.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. The manhunt for escaped prisoners who broke out of a New Orleans jail is down to 2. The morning after one was captured in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the other 2 in Texas. 5 more already caught after their escape a week and a half ago. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Shootings throughout Indy on Memorial Day. Cloudy, 62 this hour, 69 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending now at 10:02. A person is dead after a shooting Monday night at an Indianapolis apartment complex. Authorities found a man at the scene of the shooting just northwest of the intersection of East 46th Street and Allisonville Road. He later died at a hospital. A person of interest has been detained. One person shot in downtown Indianapolis Monday. It happened on South Pennsylvania Street around noon. A tourist from Sweden says he was here for the Indianapolis 500 Sunday and then spent the day here again yesterday. Not surprised about the shooting.
For me, it's basically what I expect, so to say, because you have seen a lot of American TV series and stuff like that.
He says he was not a witness of the shooting, but heard things and was close enough to the scene. The shooter was detained and is cooperating with officers as they are investigating. A shakeup in the final race order. Violations against 3 cars, including the original second-place finisher Marcus Ericsson, moved Pato O'Ward up from 4th to a 3rd-place finish.
It's been a long month. It's been a lot of hard work. I'm proud of what Aaron McLaren and Team Chevy have brought to the table for myself and my teammates. I think we had great tools to fight with.
Pato at last night's victory banquet from the Marriott downtown. Alex Palou, who won the race, collected a check for $3.8 million for he and his Chip Ganassi racing team. Game 4 tonight between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. TJ McConnell says they have to be better at what they do best, which he says is running.
I think our superpower is our speed, our depth, and our ability to not get tired. I don't think we did that very well yesterday, and our offense was very stagnant.
McConnell speaking during a practice session on Monday. Aaron Nesmith has a game-time decision with a sore ankle. Indiana is hoping to bring a 3-1 series lead back to the Big Apple later this week. A Game 5 would be on Thursday. As for Tyrese Halliburton's dad, he is allowed back at the games after being asked not to attend the last 8 Pacers playoff games following a run-in with Giannis Antetokounmpo during the opening playoff series against the Bucks. John Halliburton may sit in a suite tonight instead of sitting courtside. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Wheat Grow Hair Indy. Guys who are on top of their game, choose Wheat Grow Hair Indy. People like Rajiv Ram, 2-time Olympic medal winner. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com and you'll see who these champions are. Top radio personalities, coaches, former NFL players. They know We Grow Hair Indy had the technology and results to grow their hair back. I chose We Grow Hair Indy because I wanted to get my confidence back. And every time I look in the mirror, I'm so glad I made the choice to go to We Grow Hair Indy. And you can get your confidence back. It's so simple. Head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com today or call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation, and you could be getting your confidence back. Be on top of your game and look like a champion. Call We Grow Hair Indy today, 317-522-2995.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
That is incredible timing. I mean, you couldn't even make this up. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Kev's here. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher's in for Casey. So last hour, Ethan is a longtime city of Indianapolis. Are you a lifelong Indianapolis resident?
I am a lifelong Hoosier. I moved to Indianapolis in 2015,
Okay,
I want to say officially.
perfect. 10 years. Good enough, right? So you've been here a while. And we had this conversation about how the city has taken something which is one of its greatest selling points, which is the ease of travel around the city and around downtown specifically compared to other major metropolitan cities. And they're destroying it with these bus lines that they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on. And for the most part, nobody asked for or is using. And then you reported, and this is like, you couldn't even make this up about the timing on this.
Perfect timing.
There was some bus crash involving an Indigo bus, right?
Yes, that happened just 2 hours ago this morning on Stop 11 Road and Emerson Avenue, and they had to shut down both directions of Emerson because this bus is perched halfway across the median, spread across both north and southbound lanes.
Now, and it looks like a pretty heinous amount of damage done to the bus.
Yeah, a lot of front end damage.
Thankfully, and the reason we're mentioning this with not exactly a somber tone that you would normally associate with this, no one was injured in the crash, correct?
Yes, according to WTHR, Channel 13, there was no one else on the bus at the time of the crash, which is incredible, Rob, because I keep being told by all these Indigo advocates how vital it is for the commuters who utilize this service to go to their jobs early in the morning at 8 o'clock. You'd think would be prime bus riding hours for people heading into their 9 to 5, but yet no one was on the Emerson bus.
Wait.
And Emerson also itself a very busy, prominent street in the city of Indianapolis, and nobody is on the bus.
So let me make sure I understand this. So there is this fairly gnarly looking bus accident, and yet the positive we're supposed to take out of this is no one was injured because no one rides the bus. Did I miss something?
Welcome to Indianapolis.
Okay, very good. It is the Kendall and Casey show. They couldn't have timed that up any better, we just did that segment about how much money they're wasting on this thing.
Didn't Indigo just posted that statistic that said that they had more riders than the total population of the city of Indianapolis.
That's right. I mean, you see this. Well, you and I see this every day. When we leave this radio station, there's a fabulous little alleyway that I'm able to shoot through, which allows me to cut off multiple city streets and turns. And you come out and you're on the red line, and there's a terminal stop, whatever, right there. You never see more than one, maybe two people sitting out there waiting for this bus, I guess, to pick them up. I don't even know if they're trying to get on the bus. Maybe they're just people who like to hang out because there's some, awning type of thing, sort of the shade or what. Or this is ridiculous. And they keep looking at us going, this is a really good use of our money. And there's nobody on the bus.
And the few bus riders that actually do utilize the service are trying to tell us with a straight face that they cannot afford the $2.75 daily bus fare.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
just, it is too precipitous a price increase. Everybody else has had rising rents, rising grocery prices, rising gas, rising literally everything else in the economy. But the poor bus riders, they can't afford a $1 increase on their daily bus pass. They can't do it.
So, that's the big thing. They're trying to up the fee to use the service, and the people are mad that they're upping the fee to use the service, which brings me to my next point, which is a continuation of talking about what we're doing on a federal level, which is this legalized vote buying apparatus where you take money from one person and you give it to another person, and then that person believes they're entitled to it. And then when you come in and say, we've got to make some changes to this, the people get outraged, and then they go, and then the politicians go, well, we tried. They didn't really try. So Byron Donalds is a congressman from Florida, right? And he is supposed to be one of these people who are super conservative. And this is what is so amazing and frustrating to me, is that all of these people are supposed to be these conservative, Freedom Caucus people almost uniformly voted for there were 2 people who didn't vote, and 1 guy voted present. So everybody other than 3 Republicans voted for this bill that is nothing more, as we said, than a giveaway to special interest groups designed to just secure the electoral map, and does minimal changes to reform the system, and adds $20 trillion of debt or more over the next 10 years. And yet they will spin this thing as though it's the first step. Ethan, where have we heard this before? Yeah, okay, what we got was crap, but it's the first step in a really big change, and we got really big plans. You just wait. Where have we heard that before?
Sounds mighty familiar to something I might have heard, at a St. Patrick's Day speech somewhere at the Indiana State. How that's it's struggling to remember who showed up to that.
Listen to
sleeves.
This audio. So this is what this Benny Johnson guy, and this is one other thing I don't understand, is why all these commentators keep kissing the ass of these Congress people who clearly aren't doing their job. It's like anything Trump wants, these commentators, and I guess it's some fear of being ostracized out of the MAGA community. I don't even know, but it's like all of these supposed conservative commentators who know this is crap. They know it's bull crap. They know they don't have any plans to come back for anything else. They know they're not getting anything else. They allow these people, these representatives, these senators to spew this stuff and go, oh yeah. There is as much chance the Republicans, after they pass this big bull crap bill, are going to come back for some meaningful government reform as there is Braun has a plan to further reform the property tax system next year. There's zero. But listen to this audio of Benny Johnson, who is a prominent internet commentator, Twitter commentator, whatever, and him just lapping up this just garbage that Byron Donalds is throwing out.
Is it Doge cuts? What's next? Codifying executive orders? What's going on?
The Doge stuff, the rescission package, in my view, that's got to hit the floor. We have to see that package. Let's get this. Let the Senate get the big beautiful bill to the president's desk. The rescission package needs to be the next thing. After that, we do need to look at. We're gonna have to do some farm bill stuff. Appropriations is coming. And I think we're going to have to start taking a look at FISA again. That comes up again next year. So that stuff's going to start coming into play. But yeah, monumental lift, a lot of people had their hands in this. I know victory laps are being taken this morning, but I can't tell you, man, whether it's, Main Street, Freedom Caucus, House leadership, White House team, the president, a lot of hands went into the getting this done. So
it sucks. All the Freedom Caucus people said it sucks. They voted for it because they're wimps, because they're petrified of offending Trump. But what planet is this guy living on where, for how many times have we heard, we're coming for surveillance, we're coming for spying in this country, we're coming for the rights of... Does it ever get any better? Nobody believes anything this guy says. And yet, a guy like Benny Johnson just sits there and goes, oh, okay. Yeah, it's great.
Well, he's riding on the coattails of one of the most successful Republican grifts to ever be devised in the last 2 decades. And of course, I'm referring to the opposition to Obamacare circa 2009 to about 2017. How many Republican elections were run on the back of the promise of eliminating Obamacare? We delivered the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 2016 to Republicans for that explicit reason, and it was tanked. It was tanked by that rotten Republican, John McCain. There we go.
There's so many.
I was thinking Mitch McConnell, but I knew that wasn't right. But yeah,
same guy.
Yeah, basically.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we've got Catherine, Michael, and Tammy Meyer. They are phenomenal attorneys here in Central Indiana. They are victims' rights attorneys. They are representing several of the children that have come forward in this horrific, it's just awful daycare sex abuse case out of Brownsburg. And they're going to give us an update on where things are at on the criminal side, because multiple people have been charged. There's some other big breaking news that has been happening with that, and on the civil side as well. Can't miss conversation. Coming up next, Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
When you wake up.
You understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work.
As long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home.
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
Traffic when you need it.
Stopped on 465 again.
And updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now at 800-810-1820. 800-810-1820. 800-810-1820. That's 800-810-1820.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey race fans, this is Tim Wicker, president of Electric Plus. When it comes to commercial electrical work, new construction, facility upgrades, or routine maintenance, our team brings the horsepower to get it done right. We deliver top quality results with the skill and speed you'd expect from a winning crew. And now, as an employee-owned ESOP company, every team member is fully invested in crossing the finish line with you. Visit our website at electricplus.com to see how we can take care of your electrical needs.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Well, I've been out walking. I don't do that much talking these days.
So let's get an update on what's going on with these horrible allegations out in Brownsburg involving alleged sexual abuse of little children at the Main Street University for Kids daycare. If you haven't been following this story, it's just a horrible story. Multiple people have been charged. And if you got young kids or ever had young kids, it's just one of the worst things imaginable. Joining us now on the WIBC hotline to give us an update on what's going on. They're representing several of the alleged victims in the case, two just fabulous attorneys, friends of the show. You've heard them before. They represented the Brownsburg special needs student who was forced to eat his own vomit, which we covered in depth. Catherine Michael, Tammy Meyer join us now. Catherine, we'll start with you. Can you give us an update on the criminal side about what's going on?
Yes, so not only have the owners and the perpetrator, or we would say alleged perpetrator, been charged, now the entity itself has been charged, which was an unusual move, but it allows the prosecutor's office now to not only go against the owners who are actively owning it, but any investors in this daycare. And part of that that is really laid out in that probable cause affidavit were the steps that they are alleging that the owners actually took to cover up the allegations of abuse that were coming into them so that they were not reported to the DCS or the police.
Gabriel Garner is the name of the guy who was initially arrested. What I believe 48 counts of child molestation, exploitation, acts of sexual gratification, possession of child pornography. I mean, this is a massive, massive allegation against this guy, right? I mean, this is heinous.
It is. And, I think it's not only against him, and that's where I want to come back to. When we really looked at all of these charges and what was happening there, this was a situation that potentially could have been stopped years ago if people had acted correctly and with these children's best interests at heart. And I think that's something we've come on your show before on many other cases, saying what's interesting in so many of these is the lack of action that leads to so many more victims, because this man had approximately 125,000 pictures on his phone. 130 initially were geo-tracked to the daycare center, and they're really trying to make their way through more at this point.
Yeah, as you mentioned, owner Nancy Minton and daycare director Jennifer Lingbeck have been charged in the case as well. Have we gotten any sort of timeline on how this all sort of played out, and have they offered any sort of explanation yet about what took place?
Well, one of the sad things, Rob, is that these owners have said to folks that, if we didn't see it on a camera, it must not have happened. And that was their attitude. And we know that they knew at least 6 months ago what was going on there, at least to some extent, and they did nothing, and they covered it up. And unfortunately, this guy had been working there for about 3 years.
Tammy,
so you can imagine the number of potential victims.
Tammy Meyer, Catherine Michael, our guests, great attorneys. They're representing several of the victims in the alleged victims in the Brownsburg daycare sex abuse case. So can you take us through, as attorneys, what you guys are doing now? Obviously, this is a civil side for you guys. How do you get contacted? What is your role in this now?
Well, our role has a lot of functions right now because the criminal investigation is still ongoing. So we are working closely with the Brownsburg police, the Hendricks County prosecutor, and the families. And not only is there the criminal investigation going on, Rob, but there's also the civil end of things, which that's Catherine and my focus. But we've also got what's happening to these families, the families who are having to have their children go to medical examinations and have forensic interviews and be questioned. And so what is going on with these families is also very, very significant right now and what they're going through.
I think a reasonable person would look at, and the amount of time this Garner guy was allegedly doing this, and it seems like they've got a ton of evidence against this guy. And I think a reasonable person would say, how does this happen for what appears to be numerous years, and nobody caught this thing and interceded? Is that even logical to think somebody could have been doing this at a daycare all this time and nobody would have known about it?
Well, what we tend to see in schools, camps, daycare centers is someone will suspect something and they will bring it forward. But the problem with a lot of these organizations is personnel aren't necessarily trained on mandatory reporting. The organization often wants to protect itself because this type of situation isn't isolated simply to Main Street University. And this particular case, this is something we see again and again and again, these cover-ups. And that is what's extraordinarily problematic, is how long they often last. And then you're just dealing with the fallout. Again, these families, as Tammy mentioned, are having to deal with taking their children to Riley Hospital, getting their children tested for STDs. This is a huge ordeal for these families, and the devastation is going to be with them for years to come. And again, that's where we're looking back in time as we investigate this and as we work with the police and prosecutor's office to say, when was there knowledge? When are we sure there was knowledge? And how do we make changes in the future, even to the laws? And we've worked with the legislature this past session on how do we make changes to the laws to really strengthen the mandatory reporting standards.
Yeah, and again, if these allegations are true, which there appears at least on the Garner guy to be just a mountain of evidence against this guy, and according to the police report, it doesn't sound like he showed much of any remorse whatsoever. You guys have represented victims, and you've done it very well for a long time. Obviously, our audience will remember you. You were representing the child who was forced to eat his own vomit in the Brownsburg school system. When you guys go after a school system, obviously they've got resources, right? There is a way, while you won't be able to get real justice, you can get some level of monetary compensation that people will say, well, that seems to be a sizable amount of money. It doesn't make it even. It doesn't make it right. When you go after a private entity like this, like how is the approach? Because if indeed these allegations are true, there's no amount of money you could get for these kids or these families that would ever make it equal. So what do you do? How do you go about this?
Yeah, you got to look at the assets of the company and any applicable insurance policies that might be out there, which could be pretty significant since this was spanning over a period of at least 3 years.
Well, how hard has it been to identify victims? Because these people were these children were very small at the time. I thought initially the police would say, well, we don't think there are any more victims. And then it seemed like maybe more were uncovered. Like, how hard has this whole process been?
Well, it's extremely difficult, and I really commend the detectives and all that are working on this because they've got a very, very difficult job of going through, as Catherine said, over 125,000 images. Some of these were geo-tracked to the daycare. Others, they are identifying, and unfortunately, families are having to come forward and look at pictures and identify their own children in them.
Yeah, there is no...
That is what is just horrendous.
Well, and there is no punishment if indeed all these allegations are true for this person that is extreme enough, and if anybody who is involved in covering it up. But what happens next for you guys? What can we do, if anything? What can our audience do, if anything? How can you guys be helped in terms of getting some semblance of justice for these children, their families? What can we do? What happens next?
I think to your listeners, if they know of any employees there, if they know of any other families or children that could have been victimized, please say something. Reach out to us, reach out to the Brownsburg police or the Hendricks County prosecutor. They have teams of people working on this. They've been very responsive. They've got excellent teams set up, and people just need to speak up because we've got a lot of families out there that are wondering, gee, I've not been called yet by the police or DCS, but I wonder if my child was a victim. And they may have information that could help even if they are not a victim.
Real quick before I let you guys go, you did mention this very briefly, just a separate topic, but obviously you guys represented the victim in the who was forced to eat his own vomit in the Brownsburg school system. You guys had talked on our show quite a bit about the bullying that is taking place, the intimidation that's taking place in our public school system. Do you guys feel that there was good progress this year in the General Assembly? What, if anything, was done to address this? Because we've heard those similar sort of stories at various school systems across the state.
Yeah, the General Assembly this year did strengthen some of the mandatory reporting requirements as a result of starting to look at the lack of reporting. But one of the big problems we still have is really the lack of training. And that especially goes for school systems, camps, again, daycares, individuals who are actively working with children. Most physicians and counselors understand their obligations. But we're still having a problem with a lot of the private entities and especially public schools understanding that self-reporting. They'll often report families, but they're not reporting other teachers or staff members. And so we hope that the legislature will continue to strengthen those laws in a way that actually encourages people to come forward.
Well, you two are two of the best in the business, Catherine Michael, Tammy Meyer, great attorneys, and anything we can do to help you guys, let us know, because there is no punishment severe enough for this guy and anybody who is involved with him. And so thank you for representing these families, and just let us know whatever else we can do to help.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
You've heard about Terry Bush at R&R Agency for a long time. How easy he is to work with, and how he'll find you the best insurance coverage at the best rate. Now hear from one of his clients.
Hi, Terry. Just wanted to touch base with you and let you know I got your email yesterday, and just wanted to say thank you for all of your help. This has been one of the easiest things that I've done in transitioning to my new job. So of all the things that have been going on lately, you've made this quite easy. So I do appreciate all your help, and thank you again.
Terry has been helping people for over 35 years. If you're retiring early, self-employed, or need small group insurance, call 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. rragency.org. As always, God bless America. Peace through strength and common sense government.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
President Trump calling out Putin. It's cloudy and 62 in downtown Indianapolis. 69 will be the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:30. President Trump is continuing to question his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, over his handling of negotiations regarding Ukraine.
Over the weekend, Trump posted, "I've always had a good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy." Trump's comments came after Russia's largest combined aerial attack on Ukraine since the war began 3 years ago. So far, the Russians show no signs of stopping their attack. We heard from a spokesperson from the Kremlin who says, "We are really grateful to the Americans and to Trump personally for their assistance in organizing and launching this negotiation process."
Fox's Mark Meredith reporting from the White House. Earlier this week, a combined Russian missile and drone barrage killed over a dozen people in Ukraine. The Trump administration also looking to deal with the nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. The Transportation Department is supercharging their hiring for that field. Industry groups estimate that a systematic overhaul and modernization plan would cost over $30 billion. New studies are finding that some beers brewed in the United States have high levels of forever chemicals, considered above the allowed EPA limit. These chemicals, known as PFAs, appear to be coming from the nation's water supplies. And it also appears a Top Gun 3 movie is in the works. Director Christopher McQuarrie has revealed that he is in the initial planning process for the film. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Hey guys, it's Rob. You know, the weather is getting warmer out there. You're going to want to stay cool in your home all summer long. And that means it might be the perfect time to upgrade your windows. And if that is you, Universal Windows Direct is having their home improvement season sale. Listen to this incredible deal. If you've been thinking about upgrading your windows, now is the time to act. First of all, you're going to get 50% off your windows. Yes, that's right. Half off. Then on top of that, no interest and no payments for 12 months. So let's review. Half off your windows, no interest, no payments for 12 months. That's awesome. But then on top of that, you're going to get a free entry door with your window purchase. Style, comfort, and savings all in one. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the details and schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today. 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
At Price Point Comfort, we promise you'll never be sold something you don't need. Call us at 317-455-1124 or see us at PricePointComfort.com.
Price Point Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
So, Putin's not exactly cooperating with Donald Trump. And now Trump's got a major problem because, well, he told Zelensky to go jump in a creek and forget how to swim. And now he's mad at everyone. It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Ethan's in for Casey today. Kev is here. And Trump says these things all the time that can't possibly be true. And I think some people if you're taking Trump literally on stuff, you're doing it all wrong. But I think he thought, Ethan, this Ukraine-Russia thing was going to be a little easier than it's proving to be.
Yeah, turns out you can't waltz in with the American bravado and then suddenly solve a very unstable conflict.
And I think he thought that if I just strike a tone of like convincing Putin I'm kind of on his side, which you know my feeling on all this, which is we should have nothing to do with it. It's not our issue. We're not the world's policeman. Russia, we have a vested interest in Russia being an ally with us. We are going to get way more out of Russia being our friend than pissing them off. See the last 4 years and how that's worked out. We actually do have numerous areas where we have mutual agreement fighting terrorism, Islamic terrorism, etc., with Russia. And I think the whole way we've handled all of Ukraine has been a colossal mistake. However, if you're not prepared to pull the plug and be Team Putin, you can't make the sort of statements and do the sort of things he did, which apparently he's not prepared to pull the plug and be Team Putin.
We cannot continue to fund the war in perpetuity, and we also cannot involve ourselves with militarily by putting boots on the ground. So it behooves us to withdraw and then allow the situation to resolve itself at this time. Although it was Joe Biden's fault, essentially, that the attack happened in the first place when he tipped the hand of our military strategy and said that we would not intervene if a, quote, minor incursion were to occur. And it's been going on ever since.
Right. It's like... It's like how I deal with things on Facebook. If somebody is having some sort of tragedy in their life or some sort of downtime, or they post something, or they've had a loved one pass away, which is, you know, a common thing. My mother, my father, whatever, passed away. And that's horrible. You hate that for that person. You can't help every single person. So you have to engage in the sense of, hey, I'm very sorry for your loss, right? Let me know if you need anything. That's sort of the cursory answer. You show the person, I'm seeing your grief, I'm feeling for you. You can't help every single person, though. And once you engage in the comments on things you promised to do, then you're sort of signed up for those things. You've sort of volunteered yourself to do things that you're not really capable of doing. And in the case of the United States, we're never capable unless you're committed to some full ground troops,
right,
never-ending military presence. You're not capable of fixing the situation or making it any better. So what you've committed yourself is to this never-ending, never expense-ending military purgatory where no one's going to win the war, but it's not going to get any better.
Well, Trump should understand better than anybody, Mr. Art of the Deal, that you have to have some leverage, some negotiating strength if you're going to enter into any kind of meaningful deal-making process. And the question is, without any direct military intervention, which you and I have both identified as completely off the table, what leverage, what negotiating strength does the United States have? Because these sanctions, these economic sanctions that have been levied against Russia so far seem to be utterly meaningless. And then more importantly, many countries, especially in the EU, continue to be dependent on the natural resources, especially gas and other energy producing resources that Russia provides. So there's no way to starve the beast. There's no strength in our negotiating position.
All right, so Trump got asked about this. I think this was yesterday, Sunday. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he got asked about Putin. He's very angry at Putin.
You kind of
update on Russia and Ukraine as well?
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Mr. President, what do you want to do about that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
There's so much to dissect with that because...
Hey, he does make a fair point when he says, I'm not going to tell you, because that was Biden's problem when he blurted out in front of the media, no, we're not going to intervene militarily.
Yeah, but it's like, with Putin, what you're hopping into the sheets with. He's a nutbag, maniac, homicidal lunatic who only cares about Russia and Russia expansion. And if you know what you're getting into bed with and you choose to, it's like
didn't Putin used to be an agent of the KGB once upon a time?
Like he acts all surprised that Putin is untrustworthy and doing these things. And how could you possibly be surprised that he is doing this? Because this is what he's always done. And I don't understand how Trump thinks he's going to broker some sort of peace deal that's going to make Russia and Ukraine both satisfied. Russia will make a deal that satisfies Russia, or there will be no deal. And you can either choose to accept that premise and engage with them, or just say goodbye, have a nice life, we'll see you later. It's like Trump is so smart, yet he doesn't seem to grasp that the only deal that will be made is the deal of what Putin wants, or otherwise he's just going to keep doing the things that he's doing.
Here's my question to you, because you have some pretty good insight into the way that Donald Trump thinks, and then between the two of us, you're the only person who's actually met him. So.
That's right. And I hate to brag about that. Yes, he did call me a great dream.
It did in fact. So my question to you is, when he says these things like, I'll solve the Ukraine war in one day, does he believe it in the moment that he says these things? Okay. Or is he just making a promise because he knows it'll be politically beneficial to him?
Here's how I would describe this. You ever try to date, Kev, you can get in on this. You ever try to date someone that you know is completely out of your league? You ever try to do that? When you do that, from experience, if you're a good bullcrap artist, which someone like me is, you can momentarily speak things into existence. Like you believe in your mind you can speak anything into existence, and for a moment or moments or days or weeks you can pull that off. But the reality is there is no end game, and it's the same thing here, because the end game is Putin will keep going until he dies or he gets what he wants. He's not stopping. He knows you're not committed to military intervention. He knows the EU, NATO, not committed to military intervention. So who's actually going to stop him? The answer is no one. He has no regard for loss of human life, both the people in his country and others. And so if you're Trump, I think Trump believes he can speak anything into existence, and he banks on, and I'm saying this as a positive, people being able to buy his bullcrap, which happens a lot. And I know that sounds negative. It's not. He was able to do this in business for years and years and years. He was able to say things, and he says them with such gusto and bravado, the same way as I used to tell Broad Ripple 8s, you will be so happy when you're with me. No, the reality is you won't. But if I speak it into existence, it becomes a thing. If you say something with enough certainty and bravado, people will believe it, unless you got a real shark and a real killer on the other end, of which Putin is a real shark and a real killer, and he's not buying your bullcrap.
So it's like what Trump did when he overvalued his properties to achieve those, very cushy bank loans. Maybe they weren't worth the millions that he claimed they were, but he spoke it into existence and he secured those loans.
Yeah, the difference difference is the bank is looking at it, and the bank exists to make money. Like, the bank knows they're going to make money. You apply for loans all the time. Remember where they're like...
Not all the time,
well,
sometimes.
You're a landlord, right? I mean, I'm not saying like you're running an American greed scheme over here, but, they'll go, is your car really only worth $5,000? Don't you think it's probably worth $5,500 or $6,000? These people want to put you in the loan. The same way with Trump, they knew they were going to get their money back. They have rules, they have standards, they have regulations. They knew what they were doing. My point on this is there's no logical way this ends other than with Putin getting what he wants. And I thought when Trump was telling Zelensky take a hike that he understood that, but then it appears like today or yesterday or Sunday or whenever this was, he doesn't actually understand that. So sometimes you can speak things into existence. However, if you're dealing with someone who is on par or better at you in terms of understanding what it means to be a shark and a killer, then you don't get to do that. Was that a good explanation?
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation.
All right, Hammer's next. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, Trump is angry with Putin and Putin doesn't care. So what's next? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indy. You know, guys who are on top of their game choose We Grow Hair Indy. People like Rajiv Ram, two-time Olympic medal winner. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com and you'll see who these champions are. Top radio personalities, coaches, former NFL players. They know We Grow Hair Indy had the technology and results to grow their hair back. I chose We Grow Hair Indy because I wanted to get my confidence back. And every time I look in the mirror, I'm so glad I made the choice to go to We Grow Hair Indy. And you can get your confidence back. It's so simple. Head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com today or call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation, and you could be getting your confidence back. Be on top of your game and look like a champion. Call We Grow Hair Indy today. 317-522-2995.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Comprehensive cancer care is not just about treating cancer. It's caring for the person behind the diagnosis. It's our team by your side to listen, connect, and encourage, and to celebrate every milestone together. Because at Franciscan Health, your journey is our journey. Your victory is our victory. Your hope and trust in us to provide extraordinary cancer care with the latest advancements, plus a little extra TLC, is our mission. Learn more at franciscanhealth.org/cancercare.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Neesmith attacking. He got to the baseline. Turner with it. 3 to shoot. 2 to shoot. Oh, my goodness! What is happening here?
The Eastern Conference Finals continue with Game 4 Tuesday at 8 when your Pacers battle the Knicks. The action's fast and furious, so get your tickets now at Pacers.com/playoffs. Pacers Playoffs presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry. Pacers, Knicks, Game 4 Tuesday at 8.
I'm David Peterson, President and CEO for ERMCO, electrical systems and automation contractor for major projects such as the Indiana University Medical School and the new Fishers Event Center. While we're known for these landmark projects, companies of all sizes depend on ERMCO for their preventative maintenance, emergency repairs, and energy management services. Regardless of the type or size of your project, you deserve quality and integrity. You deserve ERMCO, empowering people, inspiring innovation. ERMCO is proud to be a Quality Connection contractor, quality work, customer connected.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp today. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. The InventHelp databank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
The news everyone's talking about, you'll find it at WIBC.com. The latest from City Hall, the White House, or the State House. Updated all day. Don't miss what matters. Stay in the know while you're on the go at WIBC and WIBC.com.
Big game tonight. What is it called now? Is it Gamebridge Fieldhouse?
Yes.
It's not Conseco anymore?
No.
Banker's Life?
No. Gamebridge Fieldhouse, Game 4. And, Rob, I don't like seeing all these mouthy New York Knicks fans in town. They have to be the hairiest fans in the league. and here's what I mean by that, because I was there on race night watching the Pacers
You're
game.
Jason Hammer, by the way.
Hello. And I see these folks walking around downtown. It doesn't matter the temperature. They've got the official jersey tank top on, no shirt underneath, right? Mm-hmm. So you see the most armpit hair you've ever seen on an individual. Yep. And these are the people sitting next to you just running their mouths at the game. And there's a lot of them.
They look like the guys that used to see, we talked about this before, the guys you'd see at 2:30 in the morning at the Vogue with the glow stick during the Sandstorm Remax. You know, the cigarette hanging out of the mouth.
Correct.
Tank top. Just sweating profusely, totally interfering in what I'm trying to accomplish. Get out of my way.
These are the guys that, for whatever reason, can't keep a job at a fast food industry, and it's always somebody else's fault. But, man, they have invaded here, and that's what I hate about sports fans in this city. As passionate as we are, as much pride as we have, we will sell our tickets in a heartbeat, man.
That's right.
How many visiting teams have gone into the Colts Stadium and taken over? Rob, you're a Bears fan.
That's right.
You went to the game when the Bears played the Colts. I think it was last year.
Well, it resembled a game.
Well, at the end of the day, you still had to watch the Bears against the Colts. But in terms of the fans, it was a Bears home game.
That's right.
And I'm not going to say it was a Knicks home game on Wednesday, but they were loud, and they're there in numbers, and I bet they're even more here tonight because it's a heck of a lot cheaper to buy a ticket for a Pacers road game than it is to buy a ticket in New York to the Garden.
Think about that. To fly out here and go is cheaper than to buy a ticket at Madison Square Garden.
Jeez.
While you had a crummy race, you had a good race bet, so kind of a mixed bag for you. I don't know. Look, I love the 500. I love the build-up. It kind of took it out for me, though, when it took so long to get the race started. You're hyped. You're ready to go. You were there in person.
Yeah, and that stinks. I mean, the TV numbers were great. That's fantastic. It looks like people still came back to watch the end of the race. But, yeah, you want the momentum to be there. Plus, it was cold. It was crappy. And we've been spoiled the last couple of years with amazing finishes at the 500. We didn't have a pass in the top 5 from lap 186 on.
Yeah.
After Pelot made that move to the lead, which we all knew was going to happen. He was just setting it up, waiting for the right time. Once that move happened, that was it. That was ball game. So it was just one of those years where it was crappy weather, not a real exciting race. And let's be honest, had Newgarden been in the mix at the end, that may have been different.
He was moving, man.
He was. That cheating, rotten, no good Penske driving SOB, he was moving up. But hopefully everybody listened to the Degenerates Next Door podcast.
You said pick below.
And if you've been listening for weeks, I told you a way you could have doubled your money about 2 or 3 weeks ago when Pelot's odds were substantially better.
You did. I also was asked to tell you my wife had a great time seeing you and Nigel on Carb Day.
She had a good time.
She was having fun. She said there were many drunk men who kept approaching them, and I think Hammer might have been getting annoyed.
No, those are my people. Those are my people. I got annoyed when we got knocked off the air at one point.
Maybe that's what it was.
But other than that, man, we were so happy to be out there finally. Again, 7 years of bitching and moaning. It's all you got to do. I heard you earlier talking about dating a girl that's out of your league.
Yeah.
Just bitch and moan for 7 years,
That's
and
right.
you'll eventually get what you want.
And did it live up to the hype? Because usually with women, it never lives up to the hype. You envision how it's going to be, and you're like, I wasted that amount of time on that? Now, with the Carb Day broadcast, did it live up to how you had always envisioned a Carb Day broadcast being and going?
I think it could be bigger and better. I think we've got to work on that location a little bit. But, hey, I'm happy for what we got this year. Let's make it bigger and better next year. Game 4 tonight. Whoever wins this Pacers game tonight wins the series.
I agree. I got 125-1, and it hinges, I think, on this game tonight. What's coming up this afternoon?
Jeff Boggs will join us. Guy Relford will join us. We'll recap all the craziness of the weekend and have a good time doing it.
By the way, watching you and your wife drive home was fun. I really enjoyed that. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Pat Sullivan here for Michaelis. They're a locally owned and operated family business serving central Indiana for over 39 years. I'm here with Richard Michaelis, who has helped many homeowners with foundation, basement, and crawl space issues.
That's right. If you notice cracks or bowing in your basement walls or detect moisture in the basement or crawl space, it might indicate a serious issue, but it could be a simpler fix than you think.
When you spot a problem, it won't magically improve on its own. It will only get worse over time. Take action now to prevent bigger issues down the road.
That's correct. Contact Michaelis for a free inspection so you can have peace of mind. Our foundation and crawl space work has a lifetime warranty. We offer 0% down financing on foundation, basement, and crawl space repairs. You see our work before we see your money.
Foundations, basements, or crawl spaces, life happens, and Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY. That's 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's. 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 Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
1 second I'm on my bike, next second I see this car coming at me. And
I broke my left ankle in 3 places.
I decided to call Hensley.
I realized Hensley was impressive first time I spoke with my attorney.
They just kind of took that burden off my back.
It happens. Hire Hensley.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, multiple Memorial Day shootings in Indy, including a deadly one. Police say a body was found in the White River on Monday. Indy 500 winner Alex Palou is making how much for winning that race? And we'll preview tonight's Game 4 between the Pacers and the Knicks from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Americans are a little more optimistic about the economy. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and so are investors. The Dow surging up 511 points after President Trump had delayed new tariffs on European imports. And this morning, we just got an update on consumer confidence. The gauge from the Conference Board shows a jump up this month from April, when confidence dropped an almost 5-year low back to when the COVID pandemic shutdowns were in full effect. Now, there are updates in federal funding disputes this morning.
NPR and 3 Colorado public radio stations are suing the Trump administration over an executive order denying NPR and PBS funding approved by Congress. In the suit, NPR argues the order violates the First Amendment. President Trump has called NPR and PBS left-wing propaganda.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The president is also threatening to withhold money from California. Posting on Truth Social this morning, he wants local authorities to prevent a transitioned male athlete who he wrote has won everything competing in women's sports from taking part in state finals competition next weekend. President Trump also threatening to cancel even more federal contracts with Harvard after freezing grants. As a hearing today considers a Trump order to prevent the university from enrolling any more international students, a judge has blocked that.
Providing short-term relief for thousands of the university's international students. In the filed complaint, Harvard argues, with the stroke of a pen, the government has sought to erase a quarter of Harvard's student body, international students who contribute significantly to the university and its mission.
Fox's Molly Line in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Trump administration accuses Harvard of allowing anti-Semitism to flourish on campus. The manhunt for escaped prisoners in Louisiana down to 2. 8 others have been captured.
Derek Groves, the most dangerous one left. He's already convicted of murder. Police also say Antoine Massey got some help from a 21-year-old woman named Diamond White. She's now one of 13 people facing charges for helping the escaped inmates.
Fox's Nate Foy in New Orleans. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Investigating a few Memorial Day shootings. Cloudy, 63 in downtown Indy. The high today, 69. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. An apartment building on Indy's north side becoming a crime scene Monday night after a man was shot and killed there. Ryan Hedrick reports.
This is an area where children play. People get inside their cars, go to and from work every day.
Indy Metro Police Officer Drew Brown speaking with reporters at the 7 Point Apartments just northwest of East 46th and Allisonville Road.
It originally was dispatched as a person shot. The incident type did get changed to a murder-homicide. Detectives are confident this is an isolated incident.
And the Marion County Coroner's Office has identified the victim as 23-year-old Rodney Beeler III. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Also on Memorial Day, a person left in bad shape after being shot in downtown Indy. A tourist from Sweden says he came here for the Indy 500 on Sunday and then stayed again on Monday.
Well, we have some problems with gang violence, but that's all restricted to just a couple of cities.
He says he does not see stuff like this happen often in Sweden. Officers did detain the shooter. IMPD says a body was found in the White River Memorial Day. Authorities arrived in the area of North White River Parkway and West Michigan Street before noon yesterday. A dive team with Indy firefighters helped get the man's body out of the water. The cause of death is now being investigated. Reality setting in for driver Alex Palou after winning the Indianapolis 500.
I would say probably kissing the brakes, because that's probably a little bit later, probably like 45 minutes after you win the race, 1 hour. You get to relax a little bit. You're not screaming, and you can kiss it with your team, with your family. And that was a moment that just having that flavor of dirt on my mouth. That was an amazing flavor, by the way. I was like, man, we did it.
Palou speaking last night at the victory celebration with Wish TV, that celebration at the JW Marriott. Palou and Chip Ganassi Racing raked in a cool $3.8 million for their Indy 500 win. The Pacers can capture a 3-1 series lead with a win tonight in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks. Indiana guard Aaron Nesmith, a game-time decision with a sprained ankle. Tip-off from Gainbridge is scheduled for 8 o'clock. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and you know that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace too strict.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WYBC.
A prominent member of the media appears to have just become aware that politicians lie. It's the Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan's in for Casey. All right, so Jake Tapper has been front and center across the fruited plain the past week. He had this book come out about Biden, so he's doing all these media hits trying to sell this book, which is horrible, makes Biden and his administration look just horrible. He comes off as some dithering old fool who had no idea what was going on, and some sort of shadowy government, or for lack of a better term, was basically running the show. And I think people see him go on these programs, and Megyn Kelly totally depantsed him on this, and say, you were a part of this problem.
Yeah.
This was allowed to go on, sir, because people like you, well, any person with any amount of common sense could see this guy is clearly not all there, both mentally and physically. People like you and the mainstream national media completely covered this up, and not only covered it up, you shamed and discredited any person who pointed out the obvious, which is there's some serious issues with this guy.
This is very gross because of how convenient and self-serving the timing of all this is, because they insisted to the American public that nothing was wrong with Biden while he was in office, and then now that he's departed and the election has been lost and the public sentiment is turning, they're going to cash in on the changing tide and then release the information that they sat on. This didn't just manifest into being. Jake Tapper had been observing and collecting this info during the entirety of the Biden administration, but was willing to sit on it. Now he is seeking to profit off of his own silence and complicity, which makes it doubly gross. Am I wrong?
No, you're spot on.
Okay.
And it's the me so stupid routine that these guys do, where they act like they had no idea what was going on. They have no idea who these people are. They have no idea what they're dealing with. And it comes back to, Bill Maher is a great example of this, where Bill Maher helped during the first Trump administration create the lunatic left monster that eventually became trying to eat and swallow everybody. And then once he realized, oh, crap, they're going to come for a 60-plus-year-old white guy comedian that makes, insensitive or inappropriate jokes. I'm probably next. Someone must do something. Well, there, Dr. Frankenstein. You helped create the monster. You shouldn't be, spared from its wrath. And it's like the same thing here, where they act like, the media acts like they didn't help create what was happening in this country and who Biden was and what was going on in that administration. So here is Jake Tapper. He was on one of these weekend shows, and he's acting as though he's totally perplexed that he's just finding out for the first time that politicians lie.
And I think that we need to be skeptical of everything that we are told by people in power. And I mean, that obviously should be the mantra of being a journalist to begin with. If your mother tells you she loves you, get a second source. Right. But we just need to remember that. Like, politicians lie. White Houses lie. Power is an aphrodisiac. And we just need to all remember that and not take it face value.
He was talking to dead people. He couldn't walk off a stage. He was forgetting obvious things. And yet nobody in the mainstream national media was questioning any of it, and they were covering for him on almost all of it.
In that clip, Jake Tapper is implicitly corroborating what we had already come to know, which is that the media was part and parcel with the Democrat Party. They were the propaganda wing, because if his conclusion is, well, golly gee, I guess we got to question people in power and question sources of authority, he hit the nail right on the head. That's the fundamental tenet of journalism. So if these people put that to the side for the last 4 or more years during the Biden administration and certainly prior, then that shows you how far off the rails our basic institutions of journalism have gone.
And it brings it back to something we talked about earlier on this show, which is, what's the point in even voting anymore? Like, all of these people lie. All of them lie. And our side does essentially the same cover-up, and they're doing it right now in this big bullcrap bill, where you have, now they're not mainstream national media, but they are the prominent media figures on what I think we would say is our side of the aisle. And I tell people this all the time. The reason our show does as well as it does is because people know they're going to get an honest take.
Yeah.
Like, we don't like any of these people. And we will tell you what we think about them. And when we screw up, we admit it. Like I've told you. I said, totally screwed up trusting Braun and Micah. Horrible move on my part. Wanted to believe it. Desperately wanted to fix the property tax issue. Believed they were the chance to get it. They've both been colossal failures. Braun has been a failure in the sense he did not deliver, and he's done the same things the previous people did. And Mike has been a failure in the sense he hasn't held anybody to any sort of account. He hasn't stood up and been the voice that he promised to be. See, that's how it works here. When we screw up, own it. And I've said, as part of that for me, is I'm out of the game of supporting people. If you couldn't even, I thought if there was anybody you could trust, it would be somebody like Micah. Couldn't do it. Didn't hold up his end of the bargain. Look at people like, we talked about Marlon Stutzman earlier. Marlon Stutzman he was in the Congress. He was in the Congress before you had an actual voting record to go off of, when he said, he didn't even have to trust him. Like, he's done it before. He gets in this time. Well, he's learned his lesson, because last time he was there, Mitch McConnell and the establishment spent millions and millions of dollars to defeat him in a U.S. Senate primary. And so he's learned his lesson. If I just go be a good boy, if I just do what I'm told, if I don't make any waves, then maybe it'll go better for me this time. So what's the point of being involved? What's the point of even participating? And nobody's holding anybody to account on either side of the aisle, because we're so invested in this bizarro team sport stuff, which I don't get at all, that nobody will hold anybody to account or take anybody to task.
Team sport politics is a side effect of the modern news cycle. You notice how when we talk about states now, we refer to them in colors: red states, blue states, and these have become the standard colors for the Republican and the Democratic Party. That didn't become a facet of TV reporting until the beginning of the late 90s. And the colors were not solidified until the beginning of the George W. Bush administration. So we are dealing with a fairly recent phenomenon that has shifted fundamentally. I mean, if you think about it, the way that people contemplate politics, because it is divorced from policy, it is divorced from platform, and now it has become, like you said, just team sport.
Yeah, and a great example of this is a guy like a Jim Banks. I've asked this for several years on this program now. What is the signature accomplishment of Jim Banks? You can take his time in the Indiana General Assembly. You can take his time as a congressman. He's been a senator for a short period of time. He's been at this for, 15 years now. Or more than that, what's the signature accomplishment of Jim Banks?
He got a great soundbite when he insulted that guy in the elevator, demanding his government job back.
Right, there is none. There is no legislative accomplishment of Jim Banks. And yet Jim Banks figured out that if I just jam my head as far up Donald Trump's butt cheeks as I possibly can, I basically become invincible, because it's a deep red state. And unless somebody can get me in a primary, which the ballot access laws alone make it almost impossible, then how do I lose? It's the same thing that Todd Young figured out in 2016, which is Mitch McConnell will bring so much money with him that it'll be almost impossible for me to lose the primary because I will bombard statewide. Now, the landscape has changed a little bit in this state as though it has gone more pro-Trump. Young has been anti-Trump. It'll be interesting to see with Carlin Yoder running what happens there. But the point is, you're right, Ethan. The states, the people have lost their defensemen. They've given it up. They've given up the sword and the shield by saying, well, we're a red state, so no matter what you do, no matter what shenanigans, if Diego Morales makes it out of that convention, he knows next year that despite all the crap that he's pulled, he will win. Unless David Shelton or somebody else running can get him at a convention, he will likely win the race. And so I look at this and go, what's the point anymore? Most of them are completely full of it. The ones that aren't just lie and then change their mind. Why would I even participate in this system anymore? It's just a total, complete waste of my time.
Recipe for heartbreak.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. Ethan, when we come back, Joe Rogan is apparently going to church, and I think you would be I'm going to ask you because you are a non-believer now, right?
Correct.
You are self-described atheist.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Atheist.
Okay. We're going to talk about one of the guys who inspired Joe Rogan to go back to church. We're going to play some audio from him. And then I'm going to ask you what it would take to get you, Ethan, to go back to church. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
When I first started in radio, crews were doing striping. I always said stripping because I didn't read very well.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
Governor Braun, can we just get him a Sagamore of the Wabash? Can we just make that happen?
I've got two. I don't need another.
Highest honors, Matt Baer. Get this completed.
I got one from Governor Holcomb, got another from Governor Daniels.
And that's no part of that is true.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC at WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob. You know, the weather is getting warmer out there. You're going to want to stay cool in your home all summer long. And that means it might be the perfect time to upgrade your windows. And if that is you, Universal Windows Direct is having their home improvement season sale. Listen to this incredible deal. If you've been thinking about upgrading your windows, now is the time to act. First of all, you're going to get 50% off your windows. Yes, that's right, half off. Then on top of that, no interest and no payments for 12 months. So let's review. Half off your windows, no interest, no payments for 12 months. That's awesome. But then on top of that, you're going to get a free entry door with your window purchase. Style, comfort, and savings all in one. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the details and schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today. 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web. UniversalWindowsDirect.com.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Malia. We often get asked when is the best time to buy, and the answer is today, not tomorrow. With rising utility costs, rising product costs, and missed opportunity costs, which you could be saving with a high-efficiency system. Give us a call today to schedule your free in-depth estimate, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Joe Rogan is apparently heading back to church. I'm fascinated by this. And I'm going to ask Ethan what it would take to get him to go back to church. It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's out. Ethan Hatchard for Casey. Kev is here. All right, Kev, you are the residential Rogan expert here. He has until very recently. What did he describe himself as? Is he
he says he's agnostic,
which means he wasn't really anything, right?
Right. He was raised Catholic, but then kind of left the religion or the church.
Okay. And this has been sort of what I would call a slow burn over time, where you have actually seen him, as we played these clips on this show, of him becoming more and more open to the idea of faith and participating in faith and having faith. And I don't know if you remember this, Kev. A couple months ago, we had this guy, Rogan had this guy, Wesley Huff, on the show. And we played some of the audio of it. Wesley Huff is what they call him, a Christian apologist, right? Where it isn't as it sounds. His job is he works through the Bible in a factual manner, like this happened here, this thing happened, these people existed, and so he works through the Bible in a historical manner, where things that are proven, things that we know, here's documents of the time, etc., and he proves things of the Bible in that sense. And I think we played this audio of this Wesley Huff when he was on with Rogan, because I think Rogan is a really smart guy. You could see the wheels, and we actually talked about this, you could see the wheels turning, because this guy's talking in a factual sense to Rogan, and he's starting to see, okay, yeah, now I'm seeing these things that actually did exist.
Yeah, he was talking about the Big Bang Theory too, wasn't he?
Right.
And he was,
So Wesley Huff said that over the past couple months, Joe Rogan has begun to engage in the idea of faith again, and has actually started going to church again.
Joe Rogan and I have had on and off communication since then. I can tell you for a fact that he is attending a church, and that that has been a consistent thing. And so, things are happening, and he's a very inquisitive individual, and I think for the better, in that he's communicating with me and other people in his life who are influences that can speak into these issues of reliability and trustworthiness and verisimilitude of something like the pages of Scripture, and where he should and shouldn't be looking for the information in regards to that. So I am very encouraged by the communication that I have been able to have with him and others over these last few months in this kind of crazy season that I find myself in. But we're seeing what I don't think is an exaggeration to say somewhat of a resurgence in interest in these topics that we've been talking about, even the nitty gritty. We had someone who reached out to us recently at Apologetics Canada, who is probably the last bricks and mortar Christian bookstore that I've ever heard of. But they said, we have people walking through our doors asking, young people, teenagers, saying, I want a Bible. All my friends are reading this thing.
Yeah, in the case of Wesley Huff, if you never looked into this guy, it's a fascinating story. He was actually born in Pakistan. He had lost his ability to walk as a child. He was miraculously healed. He's traveled the world. He's super interesting guy. If you've never looked into him, Wesley Huff is his name. Okay, so Ethan, I thought this was interesting because Rogan has clearly seen something and a lot of it plays out on his show, that has inspired him to go back to church and explore his faith again. And I would ask you, Ethan, because I think you've been open about most of this. I don't think I'm asking anything personal.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
You describe yourself as an atheist, which means you don't believe in God.
No.
And you had a pretty horrific experience with church and religion as a boy, correct?
Yes, young man. I was disfellowshipped from the Jehovah's Witness church when I was 19.
Okay, what does that mean? You were like you were kicked
excommunicated.
Kicked out. Did you do something? Did you rob a bank? Did you commit some crime against humanity?
Yes, I continued to be friends with my best friend, who himself was also excommunicated. And you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to talk with him. That's bad.
Well, that's ridiculous and stupid. So how much of your belief system or lack thereof as it comes to God, etc., has to do with the experience you had with that church?
Has nothing to do with the negative experiences I received as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. In fact, after I left the Church of Jehovah's Witnesses, I continued to self-identify and believe in the basic tenets of Christianity. In fact, one of the first things I did after leaving the Church of Jehovah's Witnesses was dive back in and reread the Bible from start to finish, from the front to cover to the back cover.
Okay, so what then led you, because it's pretty rare, you see a lot of people, many people go from not believing to becoming believers. I think it's rarer, and maybe somebody can statistically disprove this, but for people to go from believing to not believing, what moved you out of having a basis for your faith?
Well, first I would like to say I think most people are already 99% atheists, even Christians, because these Christians who believe in a God don't believe in Thor, they don't believe in Ra, they don't believe in Odin, they don't believe in Muhammad or Shiva or any of the Shinto gods or the numerous deities throughout history. And it's not something that comes up in their daily life. It's not something that they really have to ponder about, like, well, I wonder, is Shiva really real? Is he really, imparting influence in our world? No, it is something that is completely lost in their lives. To me, what started my path and losing faith was reading more about the Bible, especially the history of the Bible, the way that the books themselves were formed, the times in which they were formed, and then also the process by which the Bible itself came to be. And there's not even a great degree of agreement amongst Christianity which books are canonically biblical. Many people think of the 66 books of the Bible as some immutable reality, when there are many Christian denominations that have more or less or different books of the Bible as their religious denomination applies.
So something touched a guy like Joe Rogan and made him say, I got to make some sort of change, or something's got to change in my existence. And he's, I think, a pretty logical person in the sense of the way he works through things. And I'm sure he will talk about this at some point on his program. Is there something that would happen to you that would make you feel a desire to go, I don't even know if go back to church is the right phrase, because lots of people have deep faith and they reject religion, et cetera. But to reconsider your faith or lack thereof again?
Well, I would describe my criteria in a Christian framework because that's the background that I was raised in, and I refer to the prophet Gideon in Judges chapter 6 when he made a test for God, basically to see whether or not God was real and he was really supporting the people of Israel. And his request was, God, take this fleece of wool, and I'll put it on the threshing floor. And if you make the fleece wet but the ground dry, then I'll know that you are supporting Israel. And then the next day he comes back and the criteria was met, and he flipped it on its head. He's like, well, just to be really sure, God, now I want you to make the fleece wet, or the fleece dry but the ground wet. And he comes back the next day and says, oh, Lord, thank you. Now I know that you're really supporting, the sons of Israel, and we can go forth and conquest our enemies. I would have to see some sort of incontrovertibly miraculous interference from a divine being. But at the same time, I also kind of reject that on its head, because I truly reject the notion of a God who would, on a divine basis, interfere with the affairs of mankind. Like Micah believes that God will intervene in the state politics of Indiana, but he won't cure kids' blood cancer or even stop children from being molested by church officials in church, but he's going to interfere in state politics or make a divine miracle for one individual somewhere. No. That's a God that I would reject.
And I wish we could spend a whole show. They would probably get very angry if we spent a whole show on this, because I think that's the amount of time we would need, because I would love to talk more about this.
Why do you invite me on the show, Rob, so I can alienate listeners? I resent that.
No, I think this is a fascinating conversation, because let's face it, guys like Joe Rogan drive societal conversation, and what he's doing, not to say he's some end-all be-all, but the reality is, and we've talked about this during the election, these guys like Theo Vaughn, these guys like Joe Rogan, they are not only replacing, they're surging past traditional media in terms of the amount of people that they influence and the amount of people that they reach. And so I think it's part of a broader conversation, because I do think that and I say this as somebody with my own experience of a life with faith and a life without faith. And look, I've always been a believer, but the level to which you engage in I have engaged in my faith has increased immensely over the past 5 or 6 years. And one of the things that I would be fascinated to do a deep dive with you on is if you believe, and we don't have time to do it right now because we've got some other things we need to get to, but
the news next,
we do have the news next and some other no doubt award-winning topics we'll get to, but whether you believe it's all accidental, like when you go through fatherhood and you watch a child you don't watch a child be conceived, but experience a child being conceived, and you watch birth and you watch that whole process and you see all of that, whether you believe it's all largely just accidental, whether that those things just happen in a vacuum, like I saw so many things through that process, and I said, there's no way that could all be happening accidentally. There's no way that we could all have just gotten here accidentally. You have to believe in something, right? Because, and we'll leave it with this, and I'll let you have the final word on this. You have to believe in something, right? Because something can't come from nothing, so something had to create the original thing, doesn't it?
I think fatherhood is an excellent inspiration for introspection. However, I think most people don't feel that birth is so miraculous when it results in horrible birth defects.
But what I'm talking about, I guess maybe I'm putting two things together at once. Like the whole idea of most people who don't believe in a God believe in the Big Bang Theory, right?
I don't think that those two concepts are divorced from each other. I think the Big Bang Theory could be an explanation for how God brought reality into being.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, no matter how far back you want to take the thing back or how far you want to extrapolate it, something had to create the original thing. No matter how big it was or how large it was or how big it happened, something had to create the original thing, didn't it? Because something can't come from nothing.
Then where did God come from?
Well, that's from where God wanted, right? That's a great, it's a fascinating conversation. Anyway, all right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Trump is delaying the EU tariffs. I think this is going to be very interesting for the economy. And the Democrats, they're trying to win back young men. Good luck with that. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A deadly North Side shooting on Memorial Day. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A man is shot and killed Monday evening at the 7 Point Apartments on Indianapolis's North Side near East 46th Street and Allisonville Road.
Detectives are confident this is an isolated incident.
IMPD Officer Drew Brown says one man was detained at the scene. The Marion County Coroner's Office identified the victim as 23-year-old Rodney L. Beeler III. Also happening on Memorial Day, a person is shot in downtown Indy during the day, with the shooter being detained, and a man's body is pulled from the White River, with authorities saying it may have been there for a while. Investigations are underway. Alex Palou and Chip Ganassi Racing are feeling about $4 million richer following last night's Indy 500 victory celebration, and the Pacers are back at Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight, trying to take a 3-1 series lead to Madison Square Garden later this week. Tonight's tip-off is set for 8 o'clock. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Hey guys, if you've got the kiddos and you're looking for something for them to do this summer, listen up. This announcement is for you. Life Church is having Vacation Bible School at all of their 4 Central Indiana locations from June 9th through the 13th. Adventure awaits for kids ages 4 through 5th grade at Vacation Bible School at Life Church. Kids will adventure to the true north in fun-filled Bible stories, games, snacks, and so much more, where they will learn that Jesus points the way. He is the true north. Life Church has campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Learn more about them on the web, lifechurchin.com.
It's the Bash Sale, the biggest automotive sale in history. Your local Bill Estes dealerships are coming in hot with deals on trucks you don't want to miss. We have a huge selection of trucks at one easy online stop. Brand new Chevy, Ford, GMC, Jeep, Ram, and Toyota trucks with a massive pre-owned selection too. Plus, our fair and direct upfront pricing means what you see is what you pay. Shift into savings during the Bash Sale, only at Bill Estes dealerships, and drive away in your dream truck today. Online at BillEstesTrucks.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Integrity, responsibility, humility.
Commitment, discipline, grit.
Leadership, resilience, dependability.
This is what it takes to be a high school student athlete. It's also what it takes to be a high school sports fan. Plus,
loyalty, sportsmanship, respect.
Support, encouragement, being a positive role model.
Buying a ticket, showing up, cheering loud and proud.
I'm Robert Falcons, Assistant Commissioner of the IHSAA, and these student athletes need your support in the stands.
I'm Sawyer Tittman from Fort Wayne Snyder High School.
I'm Allie Ward from Boonville High School.
I'm Owen Fouts from Yorktown High School. It means a lot when we have fans at our games to cheer us on.
It helps us dig even deeper and do our very best.
It takes all of us to represent our school and community with pride.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is supporting your student athletes. This is showing up for your team. This is your IHSAA.
I'm James with Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling. We service all makes and models. For service, contact us at pricepointcomfort.com.
Price Point Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Trump continues to play the tariff yo-yo game, this time with the EU. He had slapped this very large, was it like 50% on goods coming out of the EU, European Union, for those playing along at home. Then decided, end of last week, that he was now moving the date into July. He then got asked about it, and here's what he had to say.
You spoke to European Commission President von der Leyen. Did you discuss the 50% tariffs, and did you agree to release?
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I told you specifically, but I told anybody that would listen. They have to do that. And we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
I still don't know what success is on this. And I maybe I'm missing some giant picture. But I was told years ago, and it has been proven true. It's been close to 20 years now since somebody told me this, that the stock market is such a powerful engine or economies in this country are such powerful engines, or communities by and large, if you're in a somewhat thriving community, are such powerful economic engines that they can handle good news and they'll be great. They can handle bad news and it'll be all right. They'll figure out how to deal with it. The entrepreneurial spirit in this country, the desire to make money is so strong, people will deal with the thing. They may not make as much, but they'll figure out how to deal with it. The one thing they can't work with is uncertainty. Because if you are uncertainty means you don't know what the rules of the game are. You don't know what entrepreneurial spirit to have, because you don't know what's going to get rewarded and what won't. And it seems like there's so much uncertainty that gets created with these tariffs. It's in, it's out. We're going to this one. This one's different than that one. That the economy is struggling to figure out exactly what's going on. We do know places like Walmart are raising their prices. We do know that's directly related to these tariffs. But what is the win, and how are we defining the win itself.
The big problem that Trump had in his first term and continues to have in his second is an inability to learn from past mistakes. And one of the big ones that we should have all figured out after the COVID debacle of 2020 is that economic policy does not work like your bathroom faucet. You cannot turn things on and turn them off in rapid succession and expect the economy to cooperate with you in quick order. It is based, like you said, on stability, on predictability, and these quick on and off changes are detrimental to the overall function of how the system works. And somebody should tell Trump that he's not a matador, and I think he wants to be, with a muleta, the red cape that they wave around.
Yes.
Ole! And so he keeps doing that with the tariffs. Oh, here it is. Oh, nope, now it's over here. Oh, now it's over here. It's on, it's up, it's down. Ole! And he's not a matador. He needs to be the leader, and part of being a leader, it involves being consistent, involves outlining a policy and then marching towards it. And I agree with you. I was at least on board with the proposal, the idea of tariffs from at the start, but the way Trump is implementing them now has totally turned me off. This on, this off, here we're doing it, now it's going to be this. That's not the way to run a country.
Yeah, you think about like your business. So Ethan is we joke, he's a real estate tycoon. He owns several properties. He rents them out. That's how you earn your living. I'm guessing, and you and I have talked about this before, you got to have a pretty good, because you said you are wrapping up the renovation of a fairly sizable endeavor.
Yes, we've been working on a 4-bedroom single-family home renovation, just me and 2 other guys for the last year.
Yeah, so you buy the house. It's in a pretty bad spot. You come up with a game plan, and you say, okay, here's what I'm buying the house for. Here's what it's going to cost to renovate it. And, hey, it may take a little while for this thing to play out, but here's the game plan, and here's what we're going. You're not stopping in the middle of it and going, well, I got halfway through. I guess I'll try to sell the house now. And in any business, you got to have some level of stability. And I say this from my own experience. When I was very young, my early 20s, I helped start a business, and it did immensely well. And it was in the pre-YouTube, Facebook, everybody's streaming era, and we were streaming high school and college sports on the internet. And I made a bunch of money pretty quick, and I was like the guy in Breaking Bad, laying on the pallets of cash. And when you're young, you don't necessarily realize you don't exactly have the Midas touch. You just had an area of expertise that you were pretty good at before anybody else, or a lot of people were good at it, and you were fortunate to make money. And that doesn't apply to other things. And I started handling other businesses the same way I handled that one, and those didn't go so well. And that's the entrepreneurial spirit. You make a lot of money on some, you lose money on some. That, and I'm out of that game now because I'm older and got other people to take care of, and you can't do things on a whim. But you got to kind of run the country the same way in the sense of how you are running your business, which is, here's the plan, we lay out the plan, we execute the plan, and then we take some time and then we reevaluate the plan. And maybe in a few years, you're going to sell the house. Maybe you want to rent it for a while. It just seems like you said, there is a real lack of stability in the economy being created by these policies. Not whether the policies themselves are good or bad, but the lack of consistency with the policies that is creating the uncertainty.
And that's where I'm turned off with Donald Trump, because he can't make up his mind and stay consistent. And he certainly has shown an inability over time to learn from mistakes in the past. And that's not a good quality for a leader to have.
Kev, we have pull that Trump West Point audio from 10:06, if you would. So one of the things Trump did over the weekend was he addressed the West Point graduates. And I think regardless of what we think about the economy, one area we can agree is Trump's infinitely better on foreign policy than Joe Biden was. And I think he instills a lot of confidence and pride in the military and people going into the military and being in the military that Joe Biden did not. And I got to say, I thought he was pretty spot on here when he was talking about how the military is changing under his watch.
The job of the U.S. Armed Forces is not to host drag shows, to transform foreign cultures, but to spread democracy to everybody around the world at the point of a gun.
The military's job is to dominate any foe and annihilate any threat to America anywhere, anytime, and any place.
I thought that's all spot on. Our job is to not placate people, not try to make them feel more welcome in the military. You are going there. Your job is to be a trained killing machine. Your job is not to be a babysitter. You're not to be a nation builder. You go in, you seek, you kill, destroy. You get out of there. If you can't handle it, if you can't do it our way, don't come in.
Yeah, the purpose of the military is to smash things, break stuff, and shoot people. And turning them into a daycare camp for people with severe mental disabilities has been a great detriment.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, the Democrats are in complete disarray. They're going to try to spend a whole bunch of money to win back men. And we'll play a clip from David Hogg, which will show you exactly why they can't win anything. It's Kendall Casey Show. Ethan's in for Casey, 93 WIBC.
Tuesday, Hammer Nigel will be back in studio after a big weekend here in Indy. Well, at least I hope so. Let's find out together at 3 o'clock here on 93 WIBC.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable. But a simple in-office solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Buthan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple in-office procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
Neighbors you know are talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like Rosemary.
I heard about Galaxy through social media as well as on the radio. I wanted to have Galaxy come out and redo my back patio. It runs the full length of the back of the house.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings is not epoxy. It's 4 times stronger.
Galaxy was great. They were very thorough. They were very clean, very efficient. They cleaned up after themselves. I was very impressed with the crew.
Commercial or residential, Galaxy transforms pools, patios, garage floors, driveways, and more. And also, it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The reason I chose Galaxy is because of the durability. We've got pets, and so sometimes they do have accidents. It's very easy to just hose off. My neighbors have come over, and every single one of them have said it's beautiful.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We are out of this world.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-917-8730.
800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. That's 800-917-8730.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now,
get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 61,995, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Think of it as WIBC on 2x speed. Big opinions, great moments, and just enough chaos. The WIBC Mashup Podcast brings it all together in one fast, fun listen. New episode each weekday. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
So the Democrats want to win back young men. And they're going to spend a bunch of money to do it, and I don't think it's going to make any difference. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan's here. You can hear him Saturday nights, 7 o'clock. Saturday nights on The Circle here on 93 WIBC. Kevin is here. Okay, so Post Millennial has this article. I think it comes out of the New York Times. This is where it's first referenced. The Democrats are going to spend $20 million to try to figure out how to reach young men. And they describe it as studying male syntax to figure out how to communicate better with men.
So they continue to miss the point.
Right. Thank you. Yes. You're spot on. Because this is like the most obvious thing in the world to me, that you would be in this age that they're, what are you? Are you 31?
32.
You're 32.
Quickly approaching 33 in November.
No, okay. Kev is 30. You are the target of what they're talking about. Your age and younger. What could they possibly, in the current, is language enough to get people your age to change how they view the Democrat Party?
Absolutely not. Here's the problem with Democrats is that they only selectively and occasionally seem to understand what a young man is. I'm amazed that now they're investing $20 million to try and attract young men to the party when they do everything in their power every other time to obfuscate the difference in definition of what makes a man or a woman.
Yeah,
they have no comprehension and no connection to what masculinity is. And look at schmucks like Pedro Pascal as a prime example number one, or David Hogg, whose audio we have here.
Yeah, so that's a great point, which is, I think people in general, like I said, if I were running for state house or state senate next year, my slogan, and anybody who runs can use this if you want, if you're a non-incumbent, no incumbent can use it, other than maybe Andrew Ireland. We like him. I want less of your stuff. That would be my slogan. I'd put it on a sign, I'd put it on a mailer, I'd put it big, and I'd make that the central focus of my conversation is I want less of your stuff. Because that's what really is going on in our society, is the confiscation of stuff, both in terms of actually taking money from you, but also confiscating your independence of how to live your life. Dudes are going to be dudes. Dudes are going to act like dudes, whether you like it or not. And it doesn't mean that we should be, condoning behavior that is not lawful or law-abiding or whatever, but making people conform into some sort of tight, uber politically correct box where you're not only not agreeing with them, but you're shaming them on almost anything they say or do. They're not going to want to be a part of your club or your anything. I don't know why they think men would want to be a part of their political party.
It is cool watching candidates like Andrew, or legislators, I should say, because he is elected, like Andrew Ireland lead. I don't know if you caught on the Twitter feed some liberal giving him guff for driving his bright green Dodge Charger through the Acton Memorial Day parade. And, fiscal conservatism on display here. And Andrew responded to him. He bought that Charger for $8,500 and then fixed it up himself. Somebody should tell Micah. That's how it's done.
Yeah, well, right. And that's
San Diego.
And I don't care if he spent $90,000 on a car if it's his money.
Sure.
If it's his money, I don't care what you do with your money. Leave me and my money alone. And when you're dealing with the public's money, you treat it much greater than you would treat your own money. So speaking of David Hogg, he was on, I don't know what this podcast is, or a radio show or something, and he was asked about Jasmine Crockett, who is a complete, crazy, offensive person who turns every normal human being off. And he got asked about her, and he's saying that's the sort of person the Democrats need. By the way, real quick, David Hogg, what is he? Is now the vice chair of the Democrat
I thought
Party.
he got kicked out.
No, not yet. They're trying to kick him out
okay.
because he's a man. They didn't want him some sort of rule violation.
Oh, not because he's crazy and wimpy.
No. He was a man, and you're not allowed to have him. There was too many men. Or I can't remember what the whole thing was. But anyway, here's him talking about how the Democrats need more Jasmine Crockett's.
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett, I love her.
Mm-hmm.
She is amazing. Yeah. I think that people want to see somebody who fights and calls out the bullshit, ultimately. I think that's what Jasmine does, and we need a hell of a lot more people that are out there that are willing to do just that and call people out on their BS and not say, oh my God, Republicans are going to criticize me for saying this. Screw that. They're going to criticize you no matter what. So what we should be asking ourselves is, what are we really fighting for? Yeah. Because we know it matters, and I think Jasmine is frankly the type of leader that we're really looking to
The problem is she offends the people in the middle. She doesn't just offend conservatives or Republicans. She is offensive. She is alienating. When you're lifting that person up, when you're saying elevate them, the AOC people, you're telling the country, this is who we are. But the people know both parties have fringe people. But you're saying, who is the base? Who are we? What are we? You're saying Jasmine Crockett is what we are. And people say, no, thank you.
Well, they're trying to groom AOC as well, because she's been doing the nonstop tours with Bernie Sanders around the United States, too. So they're trying to groom her to be a populist 2.0 for the left.
Yeah, they don't get it. And what people want, and I think you saw it play out this year in this state, what people want, by and large, is to be left alone. You live your life the way you want to live and take as little of my stuff as possible. It's the same argument. You see overwhelming support for marijuana, certainly medical marijuana, and you sort of merge that with what you saw with the property tax thing, where people say, I don't mind paying to have a nice community. I don't mind paying to get police on the street or firemen in the firehouse or make sure that we have, good public schools. But we have reached a level of insane where you people being the lawmakers, just come back for more and more and more, and we're sick of it. Ethan, you did a phenomenal job today. You can hear Ethan Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Saturday night on The Circle here on WIBC. Kev, great job as well. It's going to do it for us today. My name is Rob Kendall. Stick around. Oh, and by the way, thanks to you the listener. Without you, there is no us. You're the most part of the equation. Kendall and Casey show. Tony Katz coming up next, 93 WIBC.
Pat Sullivan here for Gutter Helmet. Are you still putting screens on your gutters? If the holes are too big, debris gets in, and you're still cleaning your gutters. If the holes are too small, it sits on top, and now you're cleaning the screens. I have Gutter Helmet on my home, and it has no holes, slots, or screens. It keeps the debris out and the water in. Since 1981, Gutter Helmet has been America's #1 choice for gutter protection. Right now, Gutter Helmet is offering a 19% discount, plus, get this, 12 months, no interest financing if paid in full within 12 months. Give them a call at 800-5HELMET. That's 800-5HELMET to schedule a free estimate. 19% off restrictions apply and cannot be combined with other offers. Call Gutter Helmet today at 800-5HELMET or go to gutterhelmetindy.com and never clean your gutters again.
You've heard about Terry Bush at R&R Agency for a long time, how easy he is to work with, and how he'll find you the best health insurance coverage at the best rate. Now hear from one of his clients.
Hi, Terry. Just wanted to touch base with you and let you know I got your email yesterday, and just wanted to say thank you for all of your help. This has been one of the easiest things that I've done in transitioning to my new job. So of all the things that have been going on lately, you've made this quite easy. So I do appreciate all your help, and thank you again. Have a good day. Thanks.
Terry has been helping people for over 35 years. If you're retiring early, self-employed, or need small group insurance, call 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. rragency.org. As always, God bless America, peace through strength, and common sense government.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Zero Res. Get 3 rooms cleaning starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141. Book online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up. A federal judge in Boston has already temporarily blocked the Trump administration.
Cuddy told jurors he suspected Diddy was behind the fire.
Even though they disagree with me, they could be on the far left. Tempo's got to be better.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
President Trump is going after an Ivy League school.
Cloudy skies, but a clear radar 63 now, heading to 70 today. I'm Jarrett Lewis.
And I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at noon. A federal judge will hear arguments this week in Harvard's challenge to the Trump administration's restrictions on foreign students.
A federal judge in Boston has already temporarily blocked the Trump administration from preventing Harvard University from enrolling foreign students. Judge Allison Burroughs told lawyers she'll consider the case Thursday.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern reporting.
Harvard is seeking a permanent injunction. The legal challenge is just part of an escalating conflict between the Ivy League institution and the Trump administration. President Trump accuses Harvard of fostering anti-Semitism and radical views. The administration has frozen more than $3 billion in grants and contracts with Harvard.
Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government could lose nearly 60% of its student body if the Trump administration's attempted ban on international enrollment, temporarily blocked by a judge, takes effect. The trial against rapper Sean Diddy Combs continuing today in New York City.
Diddy's former assistant Capricorn Clark is on the stand speaking about the fame and fear in Diddy's orbit. Diddy's demeanor was even compared to a Marvel supervillain by rapper Kid Cudi, who testified his Porsche was left torched by a Molotov cocktail in 2012.
Fox's CB Cotton reporting from outside
Cudi told
the
jurors
courthouse.
he suspected Diddy was behind the fire, which came a few weeks after his Hollywood Hills home was broken into. Cudi testified it was Diddy who broke in. He says he received a phone call from Diddy's assistant, again Capricorn Clark, saying Diddy was inside his house.
If he's found guilty, Combs could spend 15 years to life in prison for racketeering and sex trafficking, although he says he didn't do it.
You've probably heard about some of the Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith town halls that have ended with people pushing back against his views.
There are some people who just are really disrespectful. They'll yell things like one lady at our Bloomington town hall. You know, she got up and yelled white supremacist and then walked out.
A group called Indivisible Central Indiana plans to protest against Zionsville Town Hall tonight, while inside, Beckwith says Hoosiers are welcome to ask him questions during another public appearance.
Even though they disagree with me and they could be on the far left, I'll get people that come up after these town halls and they'll say, hey, listen, thanks. I disagree with you on everything you're saying, but thank you for coming out and listening and letting, our voices be heard. And that tends to be a little bit more of the common theme.
And the town hall begins at 6 o'clock tonight.
Shots fired, a game time call, and Pelot cashing in. Those stories next on 93 WIBC. Coming up on Tony Katz today, Trump is angry with Putin and Putin doesn't care. So what's next? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC. WIBC News Time, 12:03.
Well, Tony, President Trump is still challenging Russian President Vladimir Putin on how he's managing the Ukraine negotiations.
Over the weekend, Trump posted, I've always had a good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. Trump's comments came after Russia's largest combined aerial attack on Ukraine since the war began 3 years ago. So far, the Russians show no signs of stopping their attack. We heard from a spokesperson from the Kremlin who says, "We are really grateful to the Americans and to Trump personally for their assistance in organizing and launching this negotiation process."
And that's Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House.
A man shot and killed Monday evening at the 7 Point Apartments on Indianapolis' north side near East 46th Street and Allisonville Road.
Detectives are confident this is an isolated incident.
IMPD Officer Drew Brown says one man was detained at the scene. The Marion County Coroner's Office identified the victim as 23-year-old Rodney L. Beeler III.
The Indy 500 smashes records, but winner Alex Palou is just humbled to be in the reaction of the city.
Winning the Indy 500 can be surreal and exciting at the same time. Alex Palou explains it best.
Yeah, honestly, it's overwhelming. It's amazing. The way the Speedway has been welcoming me, the way the fans also has been just cheering for me and welcoming me as a champion. It's been amazing. So I couldn't be happier right now.
That was last night speaking with Wish TV at the Victory Celebration Purse Awards at the JW Marriott. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The National Spelling Bee is turning 100 this year.
And to celebrate, spellers are coming from across the country to compete at the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center in National Harbor, Maryland. All 50 states are represented, and 53 spellers are returning from the 2024 Bee. The first National Spelling Bee was held in Louisville, Kentucky in 1925. The winning word was gladiolus.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers reporting.
You don't see a city bus in a crash every day. Jake McDaniel has that story.
But that's exactly what happened Tuesday morning on Indy's south side. The bus got stuck in a grassy median and then came to a stop. Photos online show the bus as a mangled mess. The windows were smashed out, the tires were deflated, and the front took a lot of damage. The driver was okay, but needed help to be let out after they were trapped in a cash box. Jake McDaniel, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Indiana Pacers guard Aaron Nesmith has a sore ankle, and he's a game-time decision tonight for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference.